Don't forget, up next, Cubs and the Cardinals. Bank of America rivalry continues from Busch Stadium. It's available in high definition, presented by Philips. Enjoy the game, everyone.
Now in our 16th season as our national pastimes game of the week. This is ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. A rivalry is a feeling in the hearts of fans. It's a fact of American life, uniting communities in shared experience, as in Chicago and St. Louis. And a rivalry is faces of stars each generation adopts as its own. Today's Cubs and Cardinals fans are lucky indeed to watch the likes of Derek Lee in pursuit of a triple crown, and Albert Pujols on par with the greats of the game. And as they have all season long, they'll lead their teams into battle tonight. On Friday, the Cardinals relied on their supporting cast. John Mabry's pinch hit triple in the bottom of the 11th set the stage. And David Eckstein delivered a squeeze play to end the game, and the Cardinals won 2-1. On Saturday, it was all about the stars. Derek Lee continued his spirited run towards the Triple Crown with a 2-run homer in the 5th. Then, with one last chance in the 9th, Cardinals superstar Albert Pujols lined into a game-ending double play. Cubs won 6-5. The feeling, the fans, the faces of a classic rivalry. Cubs-Cardinals next on Sunday Night Baseball.
You know that time, yeah, it's the right time to see all the teams you love. Yeah, Sunday night time, yeah, it's the right time. Big city, bright lights above. We're getting ready for the game time. It's the right time on ESPN.
It is a hot, steamy Midwest evening here as the heat wave has gripped the Midwest, especially St. Louis. It was 102 today as Cardinal fans and Cubs fans have gathered at Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis for ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell. Tonight, that ancient rivalry, that heated rivalry, that Midwest rivalry, the Cubs and the Cardinals in the rubber match of the series. Hello, everyone. I'm Jon Miller with Joe Morgan. And, hey, the heat doesn't affect us, apparently, because they said it was going to be hot, so we put on more clothes. All right, now, Joe, we got two of the best players in the game going here, and one of them, Derek Lee, has sort of emerged as a great player this year. He's going for the Triple Crown, an MVP candidate. Of course, the Cardinals' great star, Albert Pujols, as always, an MVP candidate.
Well, John, when you talk about the best hitters in the game, you start with Albert Pujols. In fact, he would have won a couple of MVPs already because he's had MVP-type years, but Barry Bonds has had better years. I think when you look at this guy, he can do everything that is necessary to help your team win. And he is maybe the best hitter in the game, but he's a definite MVP candidate. Now, Derek Lee has emerged into one of the best hitters in the game. Now he's going to be in that conversation. He wasn't in the conversation last year when you talked about the best hitters, but he has been so consistent. I think that's the thing that I like about him this year. He has not had any real slump, and without Derek Lee, the Cubs wouldn't even be thinking about the wild card. But he has a big enough bat, and with a little more help, I think he can lead them to the wild card.
All right, now, the Cubs always rely on their strong pitching, but keeping Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor healthy, that has been difficult. They got both of them back here recently, but now Kerry Wood is down again with another injury. He'll miss his start tomorrow against the Giants. Mark Pryor, though, is back. He's going tonight, and he's pitching real well right now, as well as he pitched a couple of years ago.
Well, I think Mark Pryor is okay, John. I mean, this guy can overpower you with his fastball. He has great breaking balls, but he also has a great mentality on the mound. And he is 100% healthy. At least that's what the Cubs tell you. And remember, he didn't have structural damage to his elbow or shoulder like Wood did. This guy was hurt, you know, with line drives, running into people, so forth. Now he is ready to pitch on the mound, and he is throwing the ball exceptionally well. He's 2-0 since the All-Star break.
All right, it's always a treat to watch Mark Pryor pitch, one of the best in the game. So we're set to go. It's hot. It's the Cubs and the Cardinals. Gary Miller is here with us. And when we come back, Gary will have his own heat advisory here. Tell us what's going on here in St. Louis with the heat, how the players are going to cope. Jeff Suppan getting ready to go. And the first pitch of the ball game is coming up when we return momentarily.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And in part by Bank of America. Higher standards. The all-new supercharged Range Rover Sport. Experience the new Rush at your local Land Rover retailer. And Heineken. It's all about the beer.
The new Crunchwrap Supreme. Classic Taco Bell taste, grilled to go anywhere.
All these check email, play MP3s. They're portable, so they're good to go.
Even this?
That's my lunch. Crunchwrap Supreme. It's good to go, but no email. Oddly enough.
Seasoned beef, warm nacho cheese sauce, a crunchy tostada shell, lettuce, tomatoes, and sour cream, all loaded into a flour tortilla and grilled for maximum portability. For classic Taco Bell tastes that are good to go, think outside the bun.
Absolutely. We have free checking with direct deposit, so you can pay your bills and get your money however you want, without paying us.
Even if I get cash from a Bank of America ATM 100 times a month?
That would be free.
Even when I pay my bills online?
It's free. You can pay almost any bill.
So if I had 65 bills...
As many as you want.
Oh, and if somebody uses my debit card, if it gets stolen or something?
You're covered.
Free checking plus.
Okay. All right, let's do it.
From Bank of America. Higher standards.
Well, it wasn't until Hurricane Charlie was over the real danger began.
I'm State Farm Agent Dan Mann, and this is a true story.
I'm a diabetic, and so when the power goes out, that's real bad.
His insulin had to stay cold.
He brought me ice.
Plus a check for emergency living expenses.
Before my neighbor even heard from his insurance company. And with all the thousands of people that needed help down here, I felt like they're only one.
When you need someone most, nobody takes care of you like State Farm.
We'd love to prove it to you. Call an agent today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hank tricked the hound by Shaw. Hank chose Shaw unscented. Stanley applied a macho smell. There they go. Ooh, Rex has picked up a scent, but only Stanley's, because Hank seems undetectable. Good plan, Hank. Odor-free Shaw unscented. Protection that's undetected.
Hey. Welcome back to ESPN's coverage of Rivalry Week in Major League Baseball, presented by Bank of America. And in St. Louis, it's hot. The temperatures reached 102 degrees here today. And now it's really cooled off. It's down to 96. And the heat index says that it feels like it's 104. So very comfortable, very uncomfortable. And usually inside this ballpark, you don't feel any wind whatsoever, regardless of the amount of wind that's blowing high above the ballpark. Let's take a look at the Cubs batting order now, presented by Taco Bell. It'll be Jerry Hairston leading off in center field. Then Todd Walker at second base, batting second. Derek Lee hitting .370, 32 homers, 81 batted in first base. Jeremy Burnett, the man who took over for Sosa in right field, and he's having a pretty good year. Ramis Ramirez, and he's having an outstanding year, and he's real hot right now. Todd Hollandsworth at left field, hitting sixth. It is Nafi Perez at short. He's been playing short every day since the injury to Nomar. The catcher is Henry Blanco, batting eighth, and the pitcher for the Cubs, the big right-hander, Mark Pryor, who also can hit pretty well. And pitching for the St. Louis Cardinals, the veteran right-hander, 30-year-old Jeff Suppan, who with a win tonight will become the fourth Cardinals starter to reach double figures in wins this year.
Well, and if you're a Cardinals pitcher, they're going to score a lot of runs for you, so you really just have to stay in the ball game. And when you look at Suppan, you think about the fact he has to change speeds well. He doesn't have overpowering stuff, but he can throw you a fastball if you're looking for something else. But he rarely pitches past the 6th inning, but that's normal in this day and age.
So here is Hairston. Hairston hitting .271, 4 homers, 18 batted in, and the first pitch is ball 1. So we are underway in St. Louis. The Cardinals began the day with a 12-game lead over Houston in the National League Central. Houston has won its game, a long game in Washington, extra inning game. And there's a ball too high, although right now nobody talks a whole lot about catching the Cardinals, although I mean, it's not impossible, but it's not real likely either. But they're all talking about that wild card, Houston and the Cubs in particular, in the Central Division. That is too low, 3-0 the count. Jerry Crawford is the home plate umpire.
And one of the things Suppan cannot afford to do is help the Cubs out by walking guys, because he doesn't have the overpowering stuff. They're going to put the ball in play.
3 balls, no strikes, the count to Hairston. And that fastball in there for a strike. 3-1 now. In the Eastern Division, Atlanta and Washington both lost today. They're tied for first over there. And everybody in that division has a winning record. So whatever team finishes second in that division would be the wild card leader at this point. That's a strike on the outside. And it's 3-2 now to Hairston.
And a good job by Hairston, make him throw 2 strikes. You know, as a leadoff hitter, you have to think like a leadoff hitter sometimes. Everyone wants to hit, especially when they get a 3-1 count. But in leading off the game, make him throw some pitches. Let your teammates see what he's throwing on that particular day.
And that's into center field, a base hit. So Hairston's only swing of the at-bat nets him a base hit to start the game. Now, on this hot night in St. Louis, let's go to Gary Miller.
John, last time you're going to see me in this coat, maybe till after the game. It is steamy in St. Louis, the hottest major city in the country, triple digits, deadly heat going on here. The players want us to know, though, it's even hotter on the field. Jim Edmonds took us out pregame and put the thermometer out in center field. It was 119 degrees in center field, and that was during BP. Jeff Suppan is being hydrated for 2 days before this, plenty of electrolytes to keep his fluids high. Mark Pryor's got several extra jerseys underneath the Cubs dugout. It's going to be a steamy one tonight.
All right, and here is Todd Walker now. Now that's a little different than the way things were done years ago. I mean, guys weren't sort of building up their electrolytes, right?
No.
Before they started a ball game in the heat.
Didn't know about all that. But it's a little cooler in center field. I think it's probably down to about 115 now, because the sun was shining when he took that reading this afternoon. So, but it's still warmer out there, as Edmonds told me, than any other place in the ballpark.
So, hey, only 115. Big deal.
Yeah.
Hairston back to the bag. Jim Edmonds did go out there with the thermometer.
See how quick it's going down?
Yeah, that's when he came back.
Out there in center.
When you get in the shade, it goes down a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit.
Over at third base, Nunez in on the grass. You see how they're playing it. Pujols on the bag at first with Hairston. There goes Hairston. And a pop-up foul. And that is Nunez, who called off Diaz, the catcher.
Yeah, I think that was a hit and run. Dusty Baker likes to use Todd Walker, you know, because he puts the ball in play, and you have some speed at first with Harrison, so he tried to put a hit and run on. And you see him give Walker a tap. They said, well, we might have got you in trouble there with that high pitch.
Here's Derek Lee. And the whole baseball world's been talking about Derek Lee, who he's always been a very good player. He had his big breakout year for power numbers last year, his first year with the Cubs. But suddenly he's doing it all. Average, power, and he's always been one of the best defensive first basemen in baseball all the while. Hairston at first. And that's too low to Derek Lee.
But John, when you look at a Triple Crown situation, there are 2 things that you can control. You can control your batting average. You can control your home runs. But you cannot control the RBI opportunities that you get. So in order to lead the league in RBIs, it's going to depend on the people in front of you getting on base a lot and giving you the opportunity to drive them in.
That's at the knees for a called strike from Suppan. 1 ball, 1 strike. Lee hit a home run here yesterday. And apparently he's made a little adjustment at the plate versus what he used to do. And one thing we know from the scouting reports, Joe, he's really been hitting that inside pitch that he did not used to hit much.
Well, they always pounded him in because he didn't extend very well. And he also worked from right field around. You know, he would shoot a lot of balls to right field. So they pounded him in, and he would even inside out some balls on the inside to right field. Now he's adjusted so that he can handle the ball inside a lot better. And he said basically it had to do with his footwork, you know, staying back and using his hands. So, I mean, and most of it is just becoming a better player and being in the big leagues with experience.
In the dirt, and that will get Hairston over to second base. Einar Diaz, the catcher, has to chase it. So the wild pitch. Now first base is open, and it's a 3-1 count to Derek Lee. Suddenly a runner in scoring position now. A runner at second or a runner at third. We call that scoring position, and he is hitting even better. He's hitting .370 overall, .386 when a base hit means a run.
Well, I think that's going to change, and the reason I say it's going to change, John, they're going to stop pitching to it. You know, you're going to have some of those situations where they're just going to say, I'm going to throw it low and away. If you swing at it, okay. If not, take your walk.
The left-handed hitting Jeremy Burnett's on deck, who is not hitting .370 this year. 3-1 the count. There's Hairston at second. And, well, maybe it just started, Joe.
Well, I mean, it has to start, John. You can't let a guy just continue to single-handedly knock you off or beat you up. And we know that he's hitting .370. He's been very consistent all year long. So you're just not going to say, okay, 3-1, here's a fastball, hit it. What they did do is throw a 3-1 fastball just out of the zone. And if he wants to swing at it, go ahead.
Now the Cubs, even without Moises Alou, who's now with the Giants, without Sammy Sosa, who went to Baltimore, and without Nomar, who's on the disabled list, they still have pretty good power in the middle of the order with Derek Lee, this man, Jeremy Burnett, and then Aramis Ramirez. In fact, Lee and Ramirez are the most potent 1-2 home run combination of any team in the major leagues. So Burnett with 2 men on, and a changeup is too low. Now Burnett is hitting .281. He got 17 homers and 52 runs batted in.
Well, one of the things that Burnett is doing, John, is you don't see all the big wild swings anymore. I think, you know, part of that is his adjustment, and with Gary Matthews, some of the people here, and Dusty Baker talking to him about hitting. All these guys were good hitters, and they know about hitting. And you don't see all the wild swings he used to have.
That ball into center. Jim Edmonds. Hot number 2. 2 men down. Hairston back to second. Lee back to first. And now Aramis Ramirez will come up. Cubs, even without the guys that they had last year when they hit all those home runs, they're hitting a lot of home runs this year too. And their slugging percentage is number 1 in the National League.
Yeah, but the 46% of runs scored by the home run, that's not a good number. You know, that means if you don't hit home runs in those ball games, you're not going to score a lot of runs.
That's a huge number.
Yeah, it's a bad number for a good team. You got to drive in some run with singles, doubles, triples, and base on ball, sacrifice flies, etc. You've got to find other ways to score other than just hitting home runs.
Aramis Ramirez, you know, you go back the last 5 weeks or so, and as great a year as Derek Lee is having, it's Aramis Ramirez who's been the number 1 run producer for the Cubs for at least the last 5 weeks.
Well, you go back to what we were talking about. That's going to continue because he's going to get more opportunities, because they're going to start to pitch around Derek Lee more and more as the season progresses.
It's Mark Pryor down near a big fan in the runway near the dugout, getting ready for the last half of the inning, trying to stay cool. 0-2 the countdown to Aramis Ramirez. To the count. Hairston, who runs well at second, and Derek Lee, who also runs well at first. Suppan way ahead of Aramis Ramirez, though. We've got 26 home runs, 71 batted in. for the year. Now he asks for timeout. And he's having this big year, even though the first almost 2 months of the season, he was really doing terribly. He was not hitting home runs. He was not hitting for average. He just wasn't hitting, period.
Well, one thing about numbers, John, if you're a slugger, you can pick them up quickly. You can get 5 RBIs in one game, 3, 4. You can do those things very quickly if you get hot. And obviously, as you mentioned, he's very hot. So there are games where he's driving in multiple runs rather than just picking them up one at a time.
He's had 6 home runs in just the last 7 games. He's had something like 45 or 46 RBIs the last 34 games. Jeff Suppan in a jam. 2 men on, 2 men out. And now he steps off the slab as Ramirez got tired of waiting, and he backed away. Ramirez stands deep in the box as Tony La Russa looks on from the Cardinal dugout. And he's got that pigeon-toed stance. And he gets real close to the plate. That misses. 2-2. And he can't pitch around everybody. On deck is Todd Hollinsworth.
Well, what he was doing, John, you see Ramirez chased the second strike. He was giving him an opportunity to chase a third strike. And it looks to me like he's hitting out of the batter's box.
And his back foot is out of the batter's box. I mean, it's touching the line.
Well, no, but usually you would erase it. Just erase the batter's box. Most times they don't even have that part of the batter's box in there anymore, or the catcher's box. They usually, rub those out. They rub these out, rub all this out because it's the catcher's box very rarely is drawn nowadays.
Did that hit him? Almost. Thought maybe he'd got a piece of that billowing loose shirt. But not quite. 3-2 the count. It was 0-2.
Well, he just barely misses him. Well, with the runners going, you will have a base open since they're going to be running.
There they go. That ball is foul on the third base side. We'll try it again.
The one thing that you watch for, is Suppan. Right there, he threw him a high off-speed pitch, and he was lucky that Ramirez missed it. You have to make a better pitch with the good hitters, especially when the guy's hot. Watch where this pitch ends up. Right up and where he could handle it.
Three and two. The runners go. Strike 3 call on the inside corner. Got him looking. 2 men left. The Cardinals are coming up against Pryor.
Sexton Ford, your volume 4 dealer, will earn your business with low prices. A new 05 Focus, just $10,995 at Sexton. A new 05 Ford 500 will go for $19,995. Jump into a new 05 Ford F-150 for just $13,995. Every car, truck, and van has drastic discounts, including used cars. 04 Taurus SE at a low $10,995 and an 04 Freestar SES at $14,995.
Oh yeah, Sexton Ford is the talk of the town.
Starting July 5th, when you buy a Big Mac or large fries at McDonald's, you could win a PlayStation Portable or one of 50,000 PlayStation prizes.
Life doesn't stand still, and neither do we. That's why families trust Lowe's for stain that lasts. Not because Lowe's is the only place where you get Olympic Maximum Stain, a new formula that's designed to protect your deck for a full 8 years. Or because we carry all 160 colors so that your deck will always match your house. Or because nobody works harder to save you money every day, which Lowe's promises to do. You see, at Lowe's, improving home improvement never ends.
Back in hot St. Louis. Cubs nothing. The Cardinals coming up now. against Mark Pryor. And let's take a look at the Cardinals batting order now, presented by Taco Bell. David Eckstein leads off at shortstop. It'll be Abraham Nunez at third base with Scott Rowland on the disabled list. Albert Pujols, huge numbers straight across the board. First base, Jim Edmonds. And he's hurting and he's struggling right now at the plate. John Mabry in left field, hitting .272. Mark Grudzielanek, the former Cub, at .285. Been hot since the break. So Taguchi in left field with Reggie Sanders out. Einar Diaz, the catcher, with Yadier Molina on the DL, and Jeff Suppan, the pitcher, batting ninth up against the big, strong right-hander, Mark Pryor. Here's Pryor, pitching well lately since coming back from the disabled list, and a fastball strike to Eckstein.
Well, you see, it's 7-3, so when he's healthy, he wins. 3.15 earned run average, a little higher than you expect from him, but he does win. And, you know, he has such great stuff. I mean, he has a great fastball, great curveball, and he can just overpower a hitter. I mean, his fastball has a lot of movement on it. And what the Cubs tell you is that he is healthy, and there will not be a pitch limit concerning him tonight.
There's the curveball, and that's high and tight. And Eckstein had to lurch back out of the way of it. Pryor's always been a strong second-half pitcher for the Cubs when he's been healthy. Fastball. There is Burnett in right center, and that is out number one.
Well, the year that they got to the League Championship Series, I mean, he was maybe the best pitcher in the National League the second half of the season that year. In fact, he finished very high in the Cy Young Award ballot.
And right up until about this 8th inning of Game 6.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
20-7 in his career after the All-Star break. He's got the best earned run average of any starting pitcher post All-Star break. A little bit better than Pedro Martinez, better than Barry Zito, and even Randy Johnson. Those are the guys whose ERAs are a little bit higher than his after the All-Star break. He hadn't been around as long as most of those guys. That curveball, that was a beauty. And quickly it's 0-2 to Abraham Nunez. Nunez, a former Pittsburgh Pirate. He spent 6 years with the Pirates and has really blossomed in his first year with the Cardinals. That's a foul down the right field line. On deck, Albert Pujols. Pujols, who, again, we have to keep reminding ourselves that he's still a young guy. And he's already established himself, and long ago, even though he hadn't been in the league that long, as one of the most ferocious sluggers in the game. And already his production is compared with many of the all-time greats. That curveball down the right field line, going back. Burnett looks up. It's gone. A home run for Abraham Nunez.
Well, he threw him a curveball away for the second strike. Now he throws a breaking ball in the middle of the plate. And when your curveball rolls as this one does, it's like a mediocre fastball. And watch where this pitch ends up. I mean, that just becomes a mediocre fastball if it just rolls. See, there's not a lot of downward movement on that pitch. The second strike was more of an overhand curve, and it had a lot of sharp break down.
Well, he gives up the home run. Now he's got to face the power hitting Albert Pujols. He throws him a called strike.
And Pujols says to me, he says, you know, he doesn't swing harder when a guy throws hard like Pryor. He just swings quicker. A little late on that one.
That one is going to drift back and in amongst the spectators out of play. Lee and Walker from the right side of the infield started over. The fans got himself a souvenir.
Well, when a guy throws hard, the tendency is to swing hard, thinking that you can catch up with it. But the key is to swing quicker, and by that, stay there and use your hands more than you do your body. And that's Albert Pujols' philosophy, amongst other great hitters, of handling hard-throwing pitchers.
A ball and 2 strikes now to Pujols. Now, Pujols has 3 home runs lifetime against Pryor, and that's tied for the most that anybody's hit against Pryor. You see his numbers, 6 for 14, 3 home runs. I asked Albert, I said, how have you done against Pryor? He says, I'm not sure.
I mean, you'd think that he knows that he owns him. And that is a foul ball played by Ramirez, but a foul ball.
Well, if you're Albert Pujols and you hit 330, 340, I mean, you're hitting a lot of guys, so it doesn't really jump out at you probably. And I always remember the great Willie Mays philosophy was you fight off the great pitchers and beat up on the other guys. And that's a great philosophy.
So if you're beating up on the great pitchers,
yeah, that means you're great.
One out, a run in, nobody on. A ball and 2 strikes to Pujols. That fastball is lifted foul and out of play off to the right.
Well, see, what you've seen now is he hung the breaking ball and he got hit out of the ballpark. Now he's going with all hard stuff to Albert Pujols. See, all the pitches are fastballs. He hasn't thrown him nothing but fastballs. That one, you can see Albert is a little late on the fastball, so I don't know if you should throw him anything else. Just try to spot the fastball unless you're going to bounce the breaking ball.
Well, he goes to the curveball there, and he gets him out in the front foot. Walker in shallow right, and that is out number 2. Pujols retired. Jim Edmonds coming up. Now let's go to the studio, and Scott Reese with a SportsCenter 30 at 30 update.
All right, John. Lance Armstrong wins his 7th straight Tour de France title. Margin of victory was more than 4.5 minutes. His final words to the Paris crowd, "Vive le Tour forever." And Ricky Williams reports to Dolphins camp nearly a year to the day after telling the team he was retiring from football. These stories and more coming up on SportsCenter after the game. John, back to you.
Jim Edmonds drives one. Deep right field. Burnett's back of the wall. That ball is gone. Home run, Jim Edmonds. On the first pitch he sees from Mark Pryor, the Cardinals are playing long ball and lead 2-0.
That's one of the things that makes the Cardinals such a good team. They can beat you in so many ways. They can beat you in one-run ball games. They can manufacture runs. And above all else, they can hit the ball out of the ballpark. See the target's down low. He gets a lot of the plate. It was supposed to be low toward the outside. This ball is pretty much in the middle of the plate and middle of the belt. And he hits it off the Ice Mountain sign.
Well, there's ball. Yeah, Ice Mountain. Get me some, will you? I'm thirsty. Mark Pryor. What's going on?
Well, I think he knows its location is not stuff.
Well, that ball is hit deep. That ball is on its way. And goodbye! A tape measure home run for Jon Mabry. And the Cardinals are playing home run derby against the Cubs ace, Mark Pryor.
Things that he's only had 194-mile-an-hour fastball. The rest of them are around 92. Let's take a look at this pitch, and it looked like it was up also. Target's down low, and you see the pitch. Well, it's not that bad a pitch. I mean, that wasn't that bad a pitch. It was up a little bit, but it was away.
Look where this one goes. Over the wall, over the bullpen. Now that's where the home run hitters hit the big flies. For Jon Mabry, and he's always hit some home runs, but that's only his 2nd home run of this season. Let's see, I beg your pardon, his 5th home run of the year in his 159th at bat.
One of the things that happens, John, when you face a pitcher like Pryor, Curry, Wood, in the Cardinals, you have to psych yourself up a little bit more. You have to focus a little bit more. You have to concentrate a little bit more when the better pitchers are out there. And that seems to be what the Cardinals are doing.
Grudzielanek into the alleyway. That goes through to the wall. Hairston retrieves it. A double for Grudzielanek. Man, they're taking batting practice against Pryor right now. Dusty Baker wondering what's going on with his star pitcher.
Well, again, I think most of the problems are location. I mean, look, that ball's right there perfectly placed for Grudzielanek to handle it. They tried to go inside. They didn't get it inside, and he just rips it up the gap for a double.
With one out, Abraham Nunez hit his 5th home run of the year. Then, with 2 down, Edmonds homered. Then Mabry homered. Grudzielanek hit a double. So Taguchi, the hitter, up and in. 1 ball to no strikes. This has got to be one of the worst innings that Mark Pryor has ever endured in his career.
Well, again, it's location, location, location. That's what gets him in, has gotten him in trouble in this half inning.
Taguchi hitting .267. He's got 5 home runs, 24 batted in, 3 home runs in the inning, and a double. And it is 3-0. Abraham Nunez, who hit the first of the 3 home runs, looking on from the dugout. And he walks it. And here comes Einar Diaz. There's Larry Rothschild, the Cubs pitching coach.
You know, when I was mentioning that the balls were up, well, you know, a guy like Pryor, he can pitch up, meaning up the top of the strike zone. But in the middle of the strike zone, you're going to get knocked around. I don't care who you are. And he was in the middle with all those pitches.
So Pryor has been wild in the strike zone. Here's
Correct.
Einar Diaz. And that curveball flies out of his hand and misses high and tight. Yadier Molina, the Cardinals' regular catcher, who was blossoming into one of the fine catchers of the National League, got hit by a pitch before the All-Star break and has now been placed into the disabled list. And you see the padding he's wearing over that left hand. There's Yadier, the younger brother of Benji and Jose Molina, both catchers with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. 2-0 the count to Einar Diaz, who is the 8th batter of the inning. Two men on, 2 men out, 3 runs in. And that's a called strike. 2-1. Pryor about to throw his 28th pitch of this inning on a hot, humid night in St. Louis. And the curveball bends him back. 3-1. Well, he was getting him in the strike zone, and the Cardinals were pounding it. Now, he hadn't been in the strike zone except for 1 pitch since the 3 homers and the double. He walked Taguchi on 4 pitches, and he's going to 3-1 to Einar Diaz. The pitcher Suppan is on deck. Pryor did have an inning back on May the 1st against the Houston Astros where he gave up 7 in 1 inning. In fact, he's really had 2 real bad innings this year. Otherwise, his ERA coming into play tonight would have been right at 2. 1 hop to third. Ramirez takes it to the bag, and just like that, the inning is over. But the Cardinals, with an awesome first inning against Pryor, lead 3-0.
I'm proud to build trucks and SUVs to a higher standard. Professional grade.
I'm proud to make an SUV with the tightest turning radius.
Best V8 fuel economy.
Most horsepower in its class. I'm proud to innovate.
And I'm proud to offer something we've never done before.
Our very own employee discount. You pay what we pay.
Not a cent more.
Get a 2005 Yukon Denali all-wheel drive for just $44.16 with your employee discount. See your local GMC dealers today.
Seemed like a good idea at the time.
Century 21 agents won't leave you to fend for yourself to sell your home. They're committed to finding as many qualified buyers as possible. To find out more, visit century21.com.
Turn off the Ambilight function on your Philips flat TV, and it's like going back in time. The only flat TV with Ambilight from Philips. You'll never go back to ordinary TV.
My oldest friend. My east. My west side. My private side. My heartbreak. My heartbeat. My life happens here. My card is American Express.
Look at those two babies. Oh man, those are like the double-decker versions. I could put every one of my boys in there.
Let's go. I'm sweating my labels off over here.
The Lowe's home team advantage, and for the Cardinals, it's been playing the Cubs right here at Busch Stadium. 49-18 versus their arch rivals, the Cubs, since 1996. And they've jumped out to a 3-0 lead here tonight in the first inning. One of the worst innings of young Mark Pryor's career. First ball swinging. Todd Hollandsworth into left field, and there is Taguchi, one away.
Well, Pryor gave up 3 home runs. 2 of them were on pitches up. This is a breaking ball. It's relatively down, but the rest of them were pretty much in the middle of the plate and up, except the one. That pitch there was out over the plate. He went out and got it, but most of the balls were up. I think right in the middle of the zone. I mean, if he's going to pitch up, he can get away with it because he has an overpowering fastball. But when you get it in the middle of the zone is when they get hit. So you got to get it up or down.
Here's Neifi Perez, the veteran. Neifi's been playing shortstop, and he was hot earlier this year after taking over on an everyday basis after Nomar went down with injury.
I think he still had a fabulous season, to be honest with you, John, for the Cubs, because he got a lot of big hits. He was very consistent early when they really needed help. You know, when they were struggling, he was playing pretty well.
1-1 the count to Neifi. And that curveball from Suppan misses down and in. Now, speaking of Nomar, Nomar has been playing baseball at the Cardinals camp down in Mesa, Arizona, and he is going to go out on a rehab assignment here very shortly. That fastball grounded sharply right to Pujols. The unassisted put out. 2 men are gone. Tomorrow night, Monday Night Baseball, presented by L'Oreal Men's Expert with Dave O'Brien and Rick Sutcliffe. The Texas Rangers, they're struggling. The Baltimore Orioles, they're struggling. And both are in need of a win. Alfonso Soriano and the slugging Rangers up against Miguel Tejada, Rafael Palmeiro, and all of a sudden, Slam and Sammy is hitting the long ball. Yet another home run today for the Orioles.
He told our Peter Pasquarelli, Sammy's back.
Joaquin Benoit and Daniel Cabrera. And Daniel Cabrera, Joe, he threw about 98 miles an hour all the time. Tomorrow night, 7 Eastern, 6 Central on ESPN and ESPN HD. That ball in the left field deep. Taguchi going back. He looks up and gone. A home run. Henry Blanco, who came into the game hitting 176, hits his 3rd home run of the year. And it is 3-1 Cardinals.
Well, I guess that tells us one thing. The ball is carrying well, because even the early line drive that Edmonds hit and the one that Nunez hit, I wasn't sure was going to go out. But that ball's on the inside part of the plate. He gets underneath it and carries well to left field.
Blanco, the backup to the Cubs regular catcher, Michael Barrett. has gone deep. Here's Mark Pryor with a chance to help his own cause.
He's a pretty good hitter too, John.
Hitting .250 for the year and a .210 lifetime batting average for Pryor. 2 down, nobody on, a run in. Fastball to strike. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. One thing about playing the Cardinals, it's always advisable to be ahead of them heading into the late innings. I think the best strategy for beating the Cardinals is to beat them in the first 6 innings, because their bullpen doesn't give up much in the last 3 innings or so. Tony La Russa has had probably the best bullpen in the league. That one apparently just a little bit low. That was a close one. 2-2. Jerry Crawford, the veteran umpire, behind home plate. Two and 2 the count. 2 down, nobody on. Nunez. Pryor. Not running hard, and he's an easy out. 1 run for the Cubs, 3-1 Cardinals.
Hot. Spicy.
Excuse me? Want something spicy? Taco Bell is open late. Feed your need for all the spicy, grilled, marinated, crunchy, and melty taste you can only get at Taco Bell. Want to spice up the night? Think outside the bun. Open till 1 a.m. or later.
Today, you're a super painter with the Wagner Paint Crew. It's built for big jobs with an extra long hose that gives you the reach you need. The innovative Paint Crew. One of the ways Wagner gives you more power, because there's always something that needs painting. Wagner. Paint fast. Paint smart.
Local design that goes global with the world's most advanced network, Verizon Broadband.
Welcome back to the Barrett-Jackson Collector Car Auction.
Next up, it's the 2006 Dodge Charger.
It's the RT with a 340-horse Hemi, 18-inch alloys, muscular styling.
I particularly like this razor edging along here. Look at that, dual exhaust. Even the interior looks straight out of a custom shop.
75.
No, it's actually around 26.
Loaded up straight out of the factory. Charger.
I'll take it.
Unleashed.
Log on to MLB.com to follow baseball live on the web with MLB.com's real-time stats, game day audio, and MLB.tv. MLB.com, where baseball is always on.
Batting ninth and pitching number 37. Welcome back to Busch Stadium, and Mark Pryor has a little bit of history with St. Louis in the 2003 pennant race when the Cubs won the division and St. Louis was fighting for it. Pryor said, I can't root for the Cardinals. I hope Houston beats their brains in. That started a little bit of a sniping war with the Cardinals as well. And Tony La Russa, in his book, 3 Nights in August, said he didn't really respect a player who started mouthing off before he accomplished things. The only time they faced each other last year, the Cards beat Pryor pretty bad at Wrigley Field. He didn't make it out of the 4th inning, and they got 5 runs off him that night, John.
All right, so there's a little bad blood there. Cubs, Cardinals. The 2 longtime rivals who began this rivalry all the way back in 1892.
Well, I think it's hard for the Red Sox to pull for the Yankees. It's hard for the Giants to pull for the Dodgers and vice versa. What do you think?
I think it's smart, if you're the manager, to make sure that all your players know that the guy was saying he didn't like you. A fastball back to the screen.
I'm not sure they had to be told that either.
Well, he made sure. Mark Pryor had never allowed consecutive home runs in his career. There was only one other time he'd even given up 2 home runs in the same inning. That was in that 7-run inning where he got knocked around by Houston back on May the 1st. And Mark Pryor gave up 3 home runs in an inning. The only other time he'd ever given up more than 1 home run in a single inning was allowing 2 to Houston back on May the 1st. So we saw something that has never happened before to Pryor, and maybe a long time before it happens again. 1-2 the count. 2-2 now the count to Jeff Suppan with David Eckstein and Abraham Nunez to follow here in the second inning. Thing is, he gave up 3 homers, a double, really got clobbered, but he's still right in this ball game. The Cubs have ample firepower. Come back and get right into this one. It's only 3-1.
But not only that, a lot of times you struggle in the first inning when you're a great pitcher. You find your rhythm, and then you pitch well the rest of the way.
3-2. Charging is Ramirez. The barehanded pickup, he juggled it and throws it away. Safe at first.
Well,
Jeff Suppan.
I hope the fact that ball took a bad hop is the reason he's barehanded, because he had time to, you know, catch it in his glove and throw him away. But the ball does take an erratic hop. Now watch where the ball bounces here. See, it takes a bounce back toward the line, but I still think he had time to grab it in his glove and throw the pitcher out. The pitcher's running. I mean, if that's a speedy guy, okay. But I think you could have made the play a different way.
Well, they're going to score that as an error on Aramis Ramirez. Although it might have been an error in judgment more than the physical error.
Yeah, but I don't disagree with that.
Runner goes. The hit run is on. Staying home there at second base was Walker, and he throws out Eckstein with Suppan moving up.
I think, you know, looking back, hindsight is easy if you're Ramirez or whatever. But I think, you know, so you got time to catch that ball with your glove hand. The pitcher's running. Watch, he still almost gets him. I mean, if you field it cleanly with your glove, transfer it, and then throw, I still think you would have had Suppan. You got, you know, again, it's the pitcher running. They're not running. He's sprinting down the first baseline in this kind of weather.
So here's Abraham Nunez, the 12th error of the year committed by Ramirez. And Nunez, who hit a hanging curveball for a home run his first time, takes a 94-mile-an-hour fastball for a strike there. Nunez, 5 home runs. He never in all his years with the Pirates hit this many home runs. That one is a foul. 0-2 the count. 3 home runs. Nunez hit the first of them in the first inning against Mark Pryor. And then Jim Edmonds, he launched one. And on the very next pitch, Jon Mabry took one over the bullpen. Right after that, Mark Grudzielanek hit a double into the gap in left center. Suppan at second, 1 out. Just off the outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Gave up 4 home runs in a game in July of last year. And that was in an entire game. The most he's ever given up in a full game. 1-2 the count. Nunez, he swung at a pitch that was up around his eyes that time. I guess he saw it well.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons guys do swing at high pitches, because it's eye level and you can see it. Well, you see, they wanted to go up and in. I mean, the catcher gave him the sign to go up and in, and he did go up and in, and he did swing at it. So they knew exactly what they were trying to do there. But as I said, you can pitch up, but not in the middle of the zone. You got to go high at the top of the zone and out, or low at the bottom of the zone and out.
I don't think they've thrown him many curveballs this time. Stay with the hard stuff after he hit a home run on a curveball. And the fastball up and away.
Well, he can throw him a curveball. He just can't throw it down and in to a left-handed hitter. He threw him a curveball in the first at bat for the second strike, which was a curveball away, and he took it, and then he came down and in.
Well, he's thrown him all fastballs here, so maybe he's set up for a curveball.
Yeah.
Fastball away.
I think maybe he's figuring he doesn't want to make another mistake with the curveball, and that makes a lot of sense. It is tougher to hit a hanging fastball than it is to hit a hanging curveball.
2-2. Pryor going to battle it out here with Abraham Nunez. There is Suppan, the runner at second. He reached on the error by Ramirez. 3-1. The Cardinals ahead in the second inning. Well, he just keeps pounding fastballs in there. And I mean, I'm thinking he's got to go with something else now, Joe.
Well,
I've decided.
Okay, I think the real reason that he doesn't want to get all caught up in Nunez is because Albert Pujols is on deck.
Here's Albert.
So I think he wants to make sure that, you know, he doesn't miss with a pitch and go 3-2 and have to give in. There's a curveball.
Derek Lee. Pujols over, Pryor over to cover, and he didn't get there in time. So the Cubs have given away 2 base runners in this inning to set things up nicely for Albert Pujols.
Well, it's another one of those mental mistakes you're talking about. I mean, Pryor was just late getting there. I mean, he's trailing Nunez by a full step. So 2 mental mistakes here have allowed the Cardinals to have runners at first and third with 1 out.
Now, did he have to slow up a little bit because of the kind of throw that Derek Lee made to him?
Lee led him because he was late. He didn't want to throw it away. If he's there, I guarantee Lee gives him the ball properly.
So here's Albert Pujols. I mean, this inning should have been 3 up and 3 down.
Yeah.
He's gotten 3 ground balls in the infield and only 1 out. And here is Pujols. 2 men on. That misses inside. Pujols popped up to second, his first time on a curveball. Suppan, who reached on the error by Ramirez, now at third base. Nunez, who gets credit for an infield hit, at first base. The middle infielders looking for the level play ball. And Nunez back to the bag. Albert Pujols, I mean, year after year, hitting for average, for power, and always driving in a very high number of runs. And there's one of the reasons why he's hitting .373 in these kind of situations this year. 1 ball, no strikes. Blew it right by him. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, he opened up a little bit there in that, you know, Albert, we talked about what he says. He just swings quicker, stays and uses his hands. Well, he used his body on that swing. I mean, he actually pulled off the pitch.
You see Albert's average year since he came to the big leagues. Popped up. Shallow center. Nafi Perez backing out. And he's calling for it. And that is out number 2. So he's gotten Albert to pop up a couple of times. This time with a runner at third base and only 1 out. That's a very big out.
Well, the one thing that we've seen here is both times he's popped up, John, he's pulled off of both pitches. I mean, his front shoulder has been pulled off. Now watch his front shoulder. And we talked earlier that he's pulling the ball more. Watch his left shoulder. See where it is? It's already gone. And it makes him reach for that ball that's away. And he pops it up. And that's the same thing that happened in the first inning. Watch his front, watch this shoulder, right, the front shoulder. It's already gone, so he ends up reaching for the ball. And that's not Albert Pujols. And that's Albert Pujols used to go back through the middle and the right center. Now he's pulling the ball a little bit more so that he is a little more vulnerable on those types of pitches.
2 down. Here's another slugger, Jim Edmonds. Curveball up and away. Edmonds homered his first time. Well, remember, Albert Pujols is having some trouble with that left shoulder, too. I mean, he's nursing a little bit of an injury, although he keeps saying
he says he's okay.
He says he's fine.
But that might be why he's pulling his front shoulder out, you know, because when you're injured, you know, it's very difficult to play this game when you're 100% healthy, John. When you have problems, especially in your upper body, I mean, it's more difficult because you try to compensate. And that's what I saw there, that he was pulling his front side out, shoulder out quicker, trying to get to the ball.
Edmonds drops down a bunt, but fielded right out in front of the plate by Blanco. And the Cubs say, well, thanks very much. And the inning is over. On to the third.
Over 10,000 patents, 119 years of automotive innovation, 66 years of safety testing, but only one Mercedes-Benz summer event. Now through August 1st, the one to remember. See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for a special lease offer on the 2006 E350 sedan. Visit your local authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer today.
Starting July 5th, when you buy a Big Mac or large fries at McDonald's, you could win a PlayStation Portable or one of 50,000 PlayStation prizes.
First base, $58. Second base, 630 pesos. Third base, 300,000 yen. Home, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Fan of the game, wherever there's a game.
When we got married, suddenly we had two of everything.
They had a lot of stuff.
2 dinette sets, 2 dogs.
2 car insurance companies.
I'm State Farm agent Joan Roysum, and this is a true story.
We had to get rid of a few things.
Yeah, mainly my things.
He had State Farm.
She had a gecko.
I helped them compare rates and coverage.
It was no comparison.
He was right. For once.
This time, one of my things stayed.
Last year, 1.3 million drivers switched to State Farm. Call an agent today and you'll switch too.
Like a good neighbor,
State Farm is there.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell. Brought to you by MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. And State Farm. It's no accident that State Farm insures more cars than anyone else.
Sunday Night Baseball from St. Louis. 3-1. The Cardinals lead the Cubs as we start the third inning. Jam-packed Busch Stadium for the Cubs and Cardinals. Coming into this weekend, as you see the leadoff man, Jerry Hairston, getting ready to stand in against Suppan. 3-1, the Cardinals lead. Hairston singled his first time. Starting with this weekend, the Cubs and Cardinals had 14 games left with each other, meaning that starting this past Friday until the end of the year, more than 1 out of every 5 games that each team is going to play from here on is against each other. And Dusty Baker said, as well, you know, we're not exactly in great position to overtake the Cardinals, even with all those games against them. But obviously, we're going to have to beat them if we're going to make it even as a wild card team. That's into deep left center field. Taguchi gets there, and that is out number 1.
John, I want to comment on the play that ended the second inning for the Cardinals. He had runners at first and third. Jim Edmonds had just hit a home run his first time up. Then he tried to bunt, you know, which, that was just a shocker. I guess he was trying to catch him by surprise when he caught all of us by surprise. I mean, and obviously, if you're going to try to do this, you got to bunt it down the third baseline. So if it's not a perfect bunt, it'll go foul. He bunted it right out in front of the plate, and obviously it was an easy out to get Pryor out of that jam. I mean, a 3-run homer or extra base hit could have put the Cardinals in excellent position.
First base coach for the Cardinals, Dave McKay. What were you thinking there, Jim?
Yeah, I'm sure Tony would like to know. Or Russa, manager.
Todd Walker.
I'd like to know.
1-1. Well, I have a theory.
All right, give me that theory.
Before tonight, now he did hit a home run the first time out.
Correct.
But before tonight, he'd never done well against Pryor. Struck out 5 times in 13 at-bats against him. So I'm thinking, he thought, well, hey, I got my home run against him. What are the odds?
Well, John, good players have short memories. I mean, if you made an out the last time, last few games you played him, then you forget about that. If you hit a home run, you don't have to have a long memory to remember you hit a home run in the first inning today. I mean, it's all right. I mean, guys think the way they think, but I'm just saying in that situation, Jim Edmonds is an RBI guy. He has been throughout his career. I mean, if he dropped the bunt down, of course, perfectly, maybe he would have gotten the runner in from third.
Here's Derek Lee, who walked his first time, and he takes ball 1. But I know that Mark Pryor
was glad.
He thought it was a good strategy.
Yeah, I'm sure he was happy.
Mark Pryor had thrown over 50 pitches already.
And only had to throw 1.
And curveball inside. Derek Lee had to jump back. Now, he walked the first time with a runner at second base and 1 out. And you mentioned that that's going to start happening more and more. And this time, I think Supan's got much less to lose by pitching to him.
Right. I think he'll pitch to him. He was just trying to make good pitches. Well, that right there, maybe he won't, because that was a slider, 2-0 slider.
Just a bit outside.
Yeah, with a 2-run lead.
Jeremy Burnett's on deck. Now, if he walks, Burnett's, who's got a lot of power, would be the possible tying run. Fastball, and he walks him on 4 pitches. Now let's take a look at the Goodyear game track. I'm Jon Miller with Joe Morgan. We're at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. And a 3-home run first inning. Nunez, then Jim Edmonds went deep. And then John Mabry hit the longest of the 3. And he hit one right after Edmonds hit one. First time in his young career that Mark Pryor has allowed 3 home runs in an inning. So 2 guys who don't hit a lot of home runs hit homers in that first inning. But despite all of that, we're only in the 3rd inning, and here's Jeremy Burnett, who could tie the game. Lee back to the bag at first. Lee, in addition to all of the slugging and the pursuit of the Triple Crown, he leads the Cubs in base stealing. He's had 11 steals. Burnett's flied out to center, his first time. 3-1, St. Louis leads. That's a called strike to the inside. Supan with a 9-7 record. Cardinals already have 3 pitchers who've won 10 or more. Carpenter, Morris, and Mulder. This is their 98th game of the year. So if he wins tonight, Cardinals would have 4 10-game winners for the earliest time in the last 61 years. I mean, at least in Cardinals history. Did he hit Diaz with the backswing?
Well, the way that Jerry Crawford's reacting, I would say yes. He's trying to give him some time. He lets go with his top hand a lot of time. He ends up with just the bat in his left hand, right hand, you can see, and he follows through and he hits him on the helmet. That's also why catchers wear the helmet. Years ago, they wore their regular soft hat underneath, and now they've gone to the helmets.
Right to the second baseman. That is Grudzelonic, and the inning is over. 1 man left. John Mabry coming up. 3-1 Cardinals.
I'm proud to build trucks and SUVs to a higher standard.
Professional grade.
I'm proud to make an SUV with the tightest turning radius.
Best V8 fuel economy.
Most horsepower in its class. I'm proud to innovate.
And I'm proud to offer something we've never done before.
Our very own employee discount. You pay what we pay.
Not a cent more.
Get an 05 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab 2-wheel drive SLE for just $24,116 with your employee discount. See your local GMC dealers today.
We could go to a baseball game.
Or we could go to the Home Depot and work in the yard.
You could go to the Home Depot with a Major League Baseball player and work in the yard.
Okay.
The Home Depot has what you need for a Major League yard. Miracle Grow, Roundup, Orthomax, Scott's Turf Builder, and more.
Look at that yard. I'm pretty good at this.
Maybe too good.
Tonight at Red Roof Inn, Bill stays in a Business King room.
Look at the space.
And feels like a Business King himself.
Multitasking.
Chances of me working are remote.
Don't miss the redesigned, rededicated Red Roof Inn and Accor Hotel.
Okay, thank you.
I'm new here for the Bank of America.
The largest network of ATMs and banks in the country. Only from Bank of America. Higher standards.
I like to reward my players, you know, the ones that are actually playing. Nice inning. Good inning. Good. Hey, put that back, you hack. Try catching the ball, then you could have a drink. Get your mics ready!
For 50 days this summer, SportsCenter's going state to state, paying tribute to sports across America. SportsCenter, 50 states in 50 days. Continues all summer long on ESPN.
Here come the Cardinals, last of the third, leading 3-1. And Mark Pryor tries a breaking ball to Jon Mabry and misses with it, up for ball one. Mabry just blasted a home run his first time, the third home run of the first inning. That's a fastball high and tight. That loosened him up. 2-0 the count. Mabry will be followed by Grudzielanek and then Taguchi. 3 runs, 5 hits for the Cardinals. 1 run, 2 hits, and 1 error for the Cubs. You saw Grudzielanek, and there's Taguchi in the hole. Ooh. Blew that one right by him. 2-1 the count. Now the Cubs would like to see Pryor have a quick inning, you know, like one of those 7-8 pitch innings. He'd thrown over 50 pitches in the first 2 innings. Inside. Now it's 3-1.
Well, one of the things he's doing now, though, John, is he's moving the ball in and out. You know, he's come inside twice on Mabry, and he's also thrown a good sinking fastball away, which is what we were talking about earlier, location. But he's trying to locate the ball more now. See, again, that ball's off the inside corner. On the inside corner, he wasn't just throwing it for a strike. See the target, the catcher set up inside, and that ball, well, it still gets a lot of the plate, but it's in enough that he couldn't get his barrel on it.
Well, we'll see what he can do when he gets his arms extended.
Exactly.
That's what happened the last time. 3-2 the count. They're going outside, and he
missed his target by a lot. That ball was
right
inside.
down the middle.
Yeah. Well, the catcher is setting up outside. Catcher sitting on the outside corner, and that ball comes back toward the middle of the plate.
3-2 the count. Yeah, he just got a piece of that one. Still 3-2. So this inning is not starting in a promising fashion for Pryor. He's in a protracted at bat here with Mabry, having to throw a lot of pitches. 3-2. He'll try it again. And he struck him out with a changeup. 1 away. Boys and Girls Clubs of America is the official charity of Major League Baseball. Together, they create a positive place for kids. Now that view, Joe, that would be right about where the left field foul pole is going to be placed in the new ballpark, which opens next year. Just a little bit to the left of our shot right there will be the left field wall and the foul pole in left field. They're going to have to, before that ballpark will actually be finished, they'll have to tear down part of Busch Stadium to make room for that. And you saw that foul pole. That's where the left field foul pole will be in the new ballpark. It's already partly there. There it is. So the new ballpark is being erected right outside this one. That fastball is away to Grudzielanek, who hit a double to left center his first time. 2-1 the count to Grudzielanek. And he's been a real hot hitter since the All-Star break, hitting better than .320. He was with the Cubs last year and hit well for them, hit over 300. I mean, this guy can hit.
Yeah, he's been a good hitter all his career. He hit well for the Dodgers. I mean, he's a good hitter.
Out of play. 2-2 the count. Well, we sent a crew over to have a look at the new stadium, Joe. And there's the new one versus the old one with those arches to mimic the famous Gateway Arch here at Busch Stadium. And when they actually open the park next year, as they're now in the 40th and final season here at Busch Stadium, that park won't actually be fully finished yet. There's a foul down the right field line. And well back out of play. 2-2 the count. The new ballpark on the left-hand side is drawn in, and you see how much of it is going to actually protrude into the old ballpark. And there will be construction going on as next season begins, and probably up until August before the new ballpark will be fully completed. Fielded right at third by Ramirez. The off-balance throw right there, and that is out number 2. So 2 men are gone, and the batter will be So Taguchi. 3-1. The Cardinals lead the Cubs here in the 3rd inning. With the big crane out there, light standards have been erected. I had a look last night when I got to the hotel, and the new ballpark has got a lot of decks. If you're into decks, you'll love the new ballpark. So here is Taguchi. He walked his first time. Looks like it's going to be a fabulous new stadium for the Cardinals, and right downtown. People won't have to figure out how to get there, right? If you knew how to get to this ballpark, you know how to get to the new one. That fastball misses.
Well, Pryor's trying to have his first 1, 2, 3 inning, and again, I mean, if he can just settle in and give his team a shot, I mean, they still have a chance to come back in this ball game. He's only down 2 runs.
2 down, nobody on. Fastball a little bit low. It's 3-0. Einar Diaz on deck. So even with 2 down and nobody on, he's thrown a lot of pitches in this inning. That's a strike. 3-1 now. Pryor also with only 1 strikeout tonight, and he is a true strikeout pitcher in the Nolan Ryan, Randy Johnson kind of mold. Pryor 95 strikeouts in 88 2/3 innings before tonight, and in his career has had more strikeouts than innings pitched. Now that's a walk. So he's walked more than he's struck out in this game so far. And the batter will be Einar Diaz. Next April, the new ballpark will open. 46,600 will be the official capacity. And this ballpark will be turned into Ballpark Village. I don't know what that means exactly. So with 2 down, here is Einar Diaz. Well, we're anxious to see it. Maybe we could be here for opening day next year. The new ballpark, by the way, Joe, if you get kind of nostalgic for Busch Stadium, the new ballpark will be named Busch Stadium.
That's fitting.
That's right back toward our booth. And back out of play. 0-1 the count. I'm Jon Miller with Joe Morgan. And see, you're not hot.
Well, I mean, it's warm in here.
The heat doesn't do anything to you.
It just seems like it's not doing anything.
1 strike the count. So you got acclimated to this in your days in Houston.
No, you don't get acclimated to the heat. I mean, when it's this hot, you do not get acclimated to it.
Before the Astrodome opened, they played outdoors at Colt 45 Stadium.
Correct. So and I never got acclimated to it. It was just every day I went to the ballpark, it was hot. These fans here, they go to the games all the time. They're still hot.
And that's the amazing thing. Yesterday they had a day game here, and the fans were here. It'd been hot for several days, not just in St. Louis, but all around the Midwest. They've had a brutal heat wave. And yet they still turn out at Busch Stadium. And one thing is a given in this ballpark, no matter how much wind you see blowing above the upper rim of the stadium, you almost never feel any wind at all blowing inside the stadium. Back to the bag is Taguchi. Derek Lee on the bag with him. 3-1 the Cardinals lead. There you see that wind up above. But Jim Edmonds told me that down on the field you don't feel any wind at all. Oh, 2 the count. That's into right field, but there is Burnett. But it's been a labor tonight, a laborious first three for Pryor. Ramirez coming up.
Trade in your breakfast. Trade in your boring breakfast for a Dan and Frusion smoothie.
I have a corn muffin.
One dry corn muffin for the straight from the blended taste of a Dan and Frusion. Trade in your breakfast. A rock hard bagel? Of course I'll take it. Where you running off to, man? Real fruit and yogurt. Perfectly blended into the ultimate smoothie. That's Dan and Frusion.
That's a smoothie.
It's good, huh? Yeah.
I'll take a dozen.
Woo. Dan and Frusion, the real smoothie in a bottle. Trade in your breakfast for this Dan and Frusion smoothie.
The wheel goes round and round, we keep it moving, and it don't slow down. The wheel goes round and round, we keep it moving.
Round and round.
So the Dodgers are down to their last out, game one of the World Series. And look who's coming up. Kirk Gibson with two bad legs. You talk about a roll of the dice. This is it. High fly ball into right field. She is gone.
With 100% whole grain, low fat, and fiber, the Breakfast of Champions brings out the champion in you.
The impossible has happened.
The countdown to the movie event of the summer has begun, and it can only be described with one word. Meet the Dukes of Hazard County.
Y'all think you can catch me now? Oh, dear.
Three cousins trying to save the family farm.
Did those legs come over easy?
From one greedy hog.
He does, you dipstick.
The Dukes of Hazard, rated PG-13, starts August 5th.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. Tonight, Busch Stadium in St. Louis, where the Cardinals and the Cubs playing the rubber match of their three-game series. The Cubs will be heading home to Wrigley Field after the ball game. Now, there were no seats to be had for this game tonight, so some people figured out an ingenious way to catch the action from up at the top of the Gateway Arch.
There are people inside there.
I think you definitely need your binoculars if you're going to watch them up there. Now, see, these people are much closer, all the way at the top of the upper deck in right field. They got a panoramic view of the ballpark and the arch itself. These people look at the ball game on that side and can look out at the mighty Mississippi on the other side. Jeff Suppan inside with ball one to Aramis Ramirez. Ramirez, who's having another outstanding year. And in terms of offense, the Cubs have not seen anything like him at third base really since the days of Ron Santo. Into the right field corner, that one goes, and back into the crowd. Now, see, that would have been a fair ball in the new ballpark. So there's the foul pole for the left field foul pole in the new ballpark, and they hit right between those two foul poles. Would have been a fair ball home run. One ball, one strike to Ramirez. This ballpark opened in 1966. They had the All-Star game here that year.
I was there for that game. Foul. When you talk about hot, I think they said that was the hottest day ever for a baseball game because they had AstroTurf as well, John. And I mean, the heat was coming off. You could just see it. It was the most unbelievable sight you've ever seen. All the infielders had to stand out there. Their feet were just on fire from the heat coming up through the AstroTurf.
Remember, Sandy Koufax had a story about that All-Star game. Several players actually had to be removed from the lineup or couldn't play in the first place because of the heat. They suffered heat prostration. 2-2 the count. Tonight it was 96 degrees at game time here. 93 yesterday afternoon and 87 degrees Friday night at game time. It's like winter on Friday. Back over the middle, a base hit to center field. So Ramirez battles it out with Suppan and singles to center to start off the inning for the Cubs.
Well, Ramirez is just a good hitter. I mean, he used the entire field. He will go to right field. He'll pull the ball. That ball with 2 strikes, he just goes straight back through the middle with it. And right on into center field. John, my remembrance of that story, 66 All-Star game. Sandy Koufax started that game.
Yeah.
And I was in the locker room, and he was putting capsulin on his shoulder. That's that stuff that, you know, makes it's the hottest you can get to warm your shoulders.
The second base, and they'll get the one out there. Redzelanek throws out Hollandsworth, and Ramirez moves over to second.
Well, he looked like he was going to go back to second base, and maybe he didn't. He wanted to make sure of one, but it looked like he had a chance to go to second base to get one, and he looked like he couldn't get out of his glove. Maybe there may have been a slight bobble in there. Watch, he gets himself in a position to go to second base. So he's getting ready to go to second base right there, but he just turns and goes to first. He may not have been able to get it out cleanly. But John, it was 100+ degrees out there, and he put that stuff on his shoulder, and I knew then something was wrong. And that was the end of, you know, Sandy Koufax retired at the end of that season. He said he had to put it on to be able to pitch.
And the big curveball fouled by Nathy Perez. Runner in scoring position, 1 out. Well, also, Sandy had just pitched a complete game win on the Sunday in San Francisco, and then pitched the first 3 innings of that All-Star game. The first 3 innings. The game went 10 innings. The National League used 4 pitchers: Koufax, Drysdale, Marichal, and Gaylord Perry. Both Koufax and Marichal went 3 innings apiece. That's a foul out of play. And I think I might have, instead of Drysdale, I think it was Bob Gibson.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it was Gibson.
Yeah.
That was my first All-Star game. And, you know, the great thing with me is I got the locker next to Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, Marichal, and Cepeda. I mean, it was unbelievable for me, you know, growing up in the Bay Area. But, you know, Koufax, I mean, you just saw them putting all that stuff on his arm. It was just unbelievable to me, because that stuff is like fire. And it was so hot out there, but he said he had to do it, you know, to be able to pitch at that time. And again, that was the end of this, when he retired at the end of that season.
He retired after winning 27 games that year. Ramirez over to third base as Pujols gets the put out on Nathy Perez. 2 down, and here is Henry Blanco coming up, who homered his first time against Suppan, with the pitcher Pryor behind him. 3-1, the Cardinals lead here in the 4th inning. But Sandy Koufax, because he had just pitched in San Francisco at Candlestick Park, when they packed all of his gear to go to St. Louis for the All-Star game, he had that huge parka. It looked like you were ready for an Alaskan winter. And as a gag, he went out to the bullpen and, you know, under the stands, and then emerged in the bullpen wearing that huge jacket with the hood up, and looked up at the fans who were saying, "What are you doing?" He says, "What, you people think this is hot? That's ridiculous." Hit hard, and that's a base hit just over Eckstein. So Henry Blanco, in a game that features Derek Lee, Aramis Ramirez, Albert Pujols, Jim Edmonds, some of the premier sluggers in the league, it's Henry Blanco who's carrying the Cubs right now. 3-2 St. Louis.
This ball is just barely out of the reach of the leaping Eckstein, just over the tip of his glove. And you talk about baseball being a game of inches, a great example right there.
Here's Mark Pryor. And it's strike 1.
You know, you mentioned that you thought someone else had pitched, but it was in St. Louis. If Bob Gibson wouldn't have pitched in that All-Star game, guess what?
Had to be Gibson.
Yeah, they would have stopped the game. The manager wouldn't have been able to get out of here alive.
Maury Wills drove in the winning run in the 10th inning, and Tim McCarver scored the run. 0-2 now to Pryor. There's number 45, Gibby. Number's been retired by the Cardinals, along with Rogers Hornsby, Lou Brock, Dizzy Dean,
Jack Buck,
Ken Boyer, Enos Slaughter, Stan Musial, Red Schoendienst, and of course the Wizard, Ozzie Smith, Jack Buck, and Gussie Busch are remembered up there. Of course, neither one was a player, but they're remembered up there with all the Cardinal greats anyway.
Johnny, you know that it's ironic, but a Cub fan gave Stan Musial his nickname, Stan the Man.
A Cubs fan?
Yeah. In Chicago. I'll tell you about it when we get back.
Pryor strikes out. It's 3-2 now. The Cardinals lead. Suppan at the top of the order coming up for St. Louis.
If you like the outdoors and like to hunt, fish, or play golf, go the extra step and be properly insured. Tristle, Graham, and Toole. Insurance. It's our only business.
Have you shopped Milan Surplus? You could say they have a little bit of everything. Their expanded store space gives them more room to add new items daily. The large selection of landscape blocks and supplies continues to grow, and they sell their blocks all year round. Milan Surplus has moved their prime steel indoors and now offers pre-cuts for faster service. From general merchandise to landscape supplies to steel and aluminum, Milan Surplus is your kind of store. Shop and save at Milan Surplus, I-280 and Airport Road in Milan.
What's your profession? Medical, dental, legal. You know the importance of the right insurance. May we be of service? Tristle, Graham, and Toole. Insurance. It's our only business.
It is poker night on ESPN. Now appearing live and in person, Kid Poker, Lady Luck, Phenom, and the Brat. Ladies and gentlemen, the World Series of Poker, presented by Milwaukee's Best Light, part of Poker Night on ESPN, Tuesday at 9.
Well, I had a dream. I stood beneath an orange sky.
The multifunctional element.
Yes, I had a dream. I
from Honda.
Stood beneath an orange sky.
Where will it take you?
Rivalry Week, presented by Bank of America. The Cubs and Cardinals, one of baseball's oldest rivalries, dating back to 1892. Cubs lead the all-time series. They have a 97-game lead all time. Not doing them much good this year. They're 13 games out. But the Cardinals have won 33 of the last 44 here against the Cubs. Stan Musial, the veteran of many Cubs-Cardinal game, got his 3,000th hit at Wrigley Field, no less.
Exactly.
Stan the Man, you said.
Yeah, well,
his name got that nickname from a Cubs fan.
Yeah, one of the fans said, "Stan, you're the man." And it just kind of stuck as Stan the Man Musial. And in fact, they called Albert Pujols El Hombre. They can't call him the man, because Stan is the man, but they call him El Hombre here, which means the man.
This one away. Suppan is thrown out by Perez. Now let's check in with the studio. Here's Scott Reese with the SportsCenter 30 at 30 update.
Okay, John. Lance Armstrong cruised into Paris to claim his 7th straight Tour de France title. The final margin of victory, more than 4.5 minutes. And Larry Brown met with Knicks owner James Dolan today. There's been no formal offer, but all signs suggest the job is Brown's if he wants it. These stories and more on SportsCenter after the Cubs and Cards. John, back to you.
All right, thanks.
That's a big surprise about Larry Brown if he wants that job, huh?
What do you think?
You know, if he wants it. I mean, that's a surprise.
Do you think he wants it?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the surprising part?
Yeah, that's what I mean. No,
you were being ironic.
Yeah. Well, I thought we'd been together long enough for you to know when I was serious and when I wasn't. You know.
No, I never found that out yet.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, let's face it. Larry's from New York. He said that would be his dream job, and now he's going to get a chance to.
X9 belts one down the left field line, foul.
And I think it's good. I think it's good for the Knicks. You know.
Well,
remember when we were in Chicago, we saw Isaiah Thomas. They were there for the pre-draft meetings, and we were talking about who he was going to hire and so forth and so on. But Larry Brown wasn't on the market at that time.
1 ball and 2 strikes. I thought maybe you were trying to warn Larry Brown off the job.
No. I just, you know, I've known since he was fired from the, or whichever you want to call it, fired or let go from the Pistons, that he was going to go to New York.
Neifi Perez behind second. He throws out David Eckstein, who is now 0 for 3. 2 down, nobody on, and Abraham Nunez coming up. Nunez, who has homered and had an infield single. 3-2, the Cardinals lead after their very impressive first inning. 3 home runs against Pryor. Pryor trying to settle in. And he got a chance at his first quick inning. He had thrown 73 pitches in the first 3 innings. But he's retired both Suppan and Eckstein quickly and gets a first pitch strike to Nunez.
John, somebody asked me on my chat the other day, which I thought was the most difficult.
Your chat on ESPN.com.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been you. But they asked me, is it easier to hit 400 or to win the Triple Crown?
Yeah.
And what would you say?
Well, now in the National League, nobody's won the Triple Crown since Ducky Medwick won it for the Cardinals.
Right.
I think 1937. Since that time, Ted Williams has hit 406. So that was 41. That's 64 years ago. So it's been longer in the National League for a Triple Crown winner since Major League Baseball's last 400 hitter, although that happened in the American League. The American League has had Triple Crown winners since then. Mickey Mantle did it in the 50s.
Yes.
Frank Robinson in 66. Yastrzemski in 67.
Now answer my question.
So I think it's much easier to hit the Triple Crown.
See, I disagree, but okay.
Much easier. Not even close. Albert Pujols left on deck. Pryor has a quick inning. Top of the order coming up with the Cubs. Lee up third.
Quite Frankly with Stephen A. Smith premieres Monday, August 1st at 6:30 on ESPN2.
You got 2 ways of getting a great tasting, full flavored light beer. 1, book a flight to Amsterdam. Or 2, get an Amstel Light.
Imported Amstel Light, the beer drinker's light beer.
I hope you girls are getting ready for bed. I'll be up there in a few minutes.
Pay 10 bills in under 3 minutes.
Ready or not, here I come.
Free with unlimited online bill pay. Bank of America. Higher standards.
Millions of American families rely on Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury cars, trucks, and sport utilities. Right now, Ford Motor Company, America's car company, invites you to join the family and pay the same low prices our employees and their families pay. Introducing the Ford Family Plan. Until August 1st, you'll get our discounts on every Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury vehicle at participating dealerships. No hassles, no gimmicks. From the Ford family to yours, welcome.
The kind of imported light beer you get says a lot about you. Yours says you've got great taste.
Imported Amstel Light, the beer drinker's light beer.
I just want to be remembered as somebody that went out and played hard and did their job and was good for the game.
At the wall.
The competition, putting your body on the line, the roar of the crowd, all those things make you want to go out there and do the best you can.
Single, double, triple. Deep to right field.
I live for this.
Catch Major League Baseball all season long on ESPN. Don't miss it.
Sunday night baseball from Busch Stadium. And here's the passion for excellence, the Bridgestone Tires passion for excellence. And we got 2 very excellent sluggers, one for each ball club in the game tonight. Derek Lee leading the league in batting average, home runs, and second in the league in RBIs. And Pujols lingering right in the neighborhood in all 3 categories as well. Those are the Triple Crown categories. To win the mythical Triple Crown, you've got to have the highest batting average, hit the most home runs, and drive in the most runs. Now, some statistical people would tell you now that they would have a different Triple Crown than that. That there are other numbers more important than those particular numbers. Here is Jerry Hairston, the leadoff man, now trying to get something going for the Cubs, who are down by a run, facing Jeff Suppan. 3-2, the Cardinals lead. Hairston has hit a single, and he's also lined out to left center.
See, I disagree with you on thinking that it's easier to get the Triple Crown. I think it's easier to hit 400. I don't think either one will happen, but I think it's easier to hit 400 because you control every at bat yourself. Whereas, you know, the Triple Crown, as I said, with the RBIs, you need help from your teammates. You need help from other people to win the other two, you know, the RBI crown. Whereas the home run, the 400 batting average, you control every at bat yourself. So I feel like it would be easier to hit 400 than it is to win the Triple Crown. Although, as you mentioned, it's been more Triple Crown winners than 400 hitters the last few years.
Abraham Nunez throws out Hairston. There is one away here in the 5th inning. And the batter will be Todd Walker. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
I
understand your statistical.
I'm just recounting the fact that there have been more Triple Crown winners since 1941 than there have been 400 hitters.
I saw Frank Robinson today talking about the Triple Crown. He thinks that there will be another Triple Crown winner. And his point is, but you can't think about it. It's just something that happens. You just go out and play until, you know, the last 3 weeks. You might think about it and maybe shoot after it. But he's up until that time. You just have to play and let it happen.
Todd Walker. But I remember it was a great baseball man, Branch Rickey, famous baseball executive who ran the Cardinals for many, many years and started the vast farm system of the Cardinals. And he once talked about the statistic of runs batted in, and he called it maybe the biggest lie of all statistics, because RBIs were so much a factor of how many men on base
people
when you came up.
Right.
And also, secondarily, who was hitting behind you? Were you going to get pitches to hit maybe because you had a great hitter hitting behind you as well, and guys who got on base all the time in front of you? Those guys get a lot more RBIs than guys who don't have those kind of luxuries. So,
but again, that's, you know,
and that's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It all goes hand in hand. Someone else controls your fate, so to speak, in that situation. Whereas to hit 400, you're in charge every at bat you walk up there.
Going back is Taguchi in left center, and that is out number 2. Hit well by Walker, but he is 0 for 3. 2 down, nobody on, and Derek Lee is coming up now. Lee has walked twice in this game against Suppan. Since 1970, the latest date in the season for somebody to lead in all 3 of the Triple Crown categories. Dick Allen, September the 8th. So all the way into September 1972, he was leading. Gary Sheffield more recently, and Derek Lee was leading until a couple of days ago.
See, I thought Sheffield, of that group at the time, I thought he had an excellent shot.
Ooh, the big hook. Strike one swinging.
Because Sheffield could lead the league in hitting, you know, in the RBIs. I mean, he was just, you know, perfect there. Dick Allen struck out a lot, so I didn't think that he would make it. You know, he would strike out a little bit too much.
3-2. The Cardinals lead. Derek Lee, the possible tying run, leading the league in home runs. That one is a curveball that misses by about 3 feet. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Lee, and considering the great year he's having, he had not walked that often. He had walked only 45 times coming into the game tonight. But he's walked twice tonight. And that slider misses. 2-1.
John, there's only 3 players, though, that have led the league in all those categories actively. You know, Barry Bonds has won, you know, the home run batting and the RBI title. A-Rod has done the same thing, and Manny Ramirez. They've all won those individual titles once.
That's pulled foul. Now it's 2-2. He has not seen a fastball in this at bat. Now the league's leading walk producer is Brian Giles of San Diego. He's walked 80 times. Just to give you a comparison, Bobby Abreu of the Phillies walked 75 times. Adam Dunn 71 times. But Derek Lee had only walked 45 times coming into this game. You're going inside, and the fastball is low and in. 3-2. I mean, Barry Bonds walked 232 times last year.
Well, if Barry wouldn't have walked so much, I think he would have had a chance to win the Triple Crown the last 2 or 3 years.
3-2. Curveball. That is a fair ball. The long throw by Nunez in the dirt. Pulled out by Pujols. And the inning is over. Derek Lee is 0 for 1 tonight. Albert Pujols will be coming up. And in 1 minute, we'll visit with Dusty Baker from the Cubs dugout. 60 seconds.
I'm an AmeriQuest mortgage specialist. And whether your dream is to buy a home, refinance, or see the Rolling Stones, I'm here to help. That's why we're sponsoring the Rolling Stones tour. I love you. For your chance to win tickets, go to AmeriQuest.com. AmeriQuest Mortgage, proud sponsor of the American dream.
Seemed like a good idea at the time.
Century 21 agents won't leave you to fend for yourself to sell your home. They're committed to finding as many qualified buyers as possible. To find out more, visit century21.com.
In St. Louis at Busch Stadium, it's the Cubs and Cardinals 3-2. The Cardinals lead last of the 5th inning, and we're very honored to be joined now by the manager of the Chicago Cubs, Dusty Baker. Dusty, welcome to Sunday Night Baseball.
Hey, man, it's glad to be here.
Hey, Johnny B, I mean, you set Corey Patterson down.
Right.
Tell me what the reason behind that.
Well, you know, just want to get his, his game back together. And, you know, he certainly has the skill. He's 5'2" guy, and he was just struggling. It seemed like he needed to go get some confidence and, you know, just get his overall game back together. You know, we're hoping he gets it together soon so he can return.
Dusty, a couple of injuries we want updates on. Number one, Kerry Wood was supposed to have thrown tonight before the game. What was the result of that?
Well, he threw, you know, he felt better than he did yesterday, and yesterday he felt better than he did the day before. So it's just a matter of, you know, if the medicine works or not. And, you know, we'll throw him again tomorrow, and hopefully he progresses every day and just gets better.
And Nomar, is he going to be back soon?
Hopefully. He's going out to play in Peoria on Tuesday, and he'll play 3 games there and then possibly go to our AA affiliate or our AAA club, whichever one is at home, and hope we'll have him back soon.
All right, Dusty, many thanks.
All right, see you guys later.
All right, Dusty Baker, manager of the Cubs. Thanks, Dusty. And Albert Pujols leads off for the Cardinals, and the curveball from Mark Pryor very high for ball 1. Pryor had a relatively quick inning in the 4th, but has still thrown 85 pitches now. Pujols has popped up twice against him tonight. Just
well,
off
the one
outside.
thing I've noticed with Pujols, the thing that makes him a great hitter, John, is he has such great balance, and then he attacks the ball. We've seen him off balance a little bit tonight on the 2 pop-ups. He's been off balance, like he's pulling away. Now they're trying to go away because I think they feel like he's pulling off the pitch, looking for something inside.
Well, now it's 3-0 to Pujols. Jim Edmonds to follow, and then John Mabry. Remember Scott Rowland, who ordinarily would be in that mix. He's on the disabled list now. And it's a 4-pitch walk to Pujols. Pujols is another guy, a dangerous slugger. But he doesn't walk all that often either, considering how dangerous he is. But that's the 51st time he's walked. So he's walked a few more times than has Derek Lee. Third walk allowed by Pryor, who has only struck out 1 in 4+ innings. And there we go. The 2 great stars having fabulous seasons. The thing about Derek Lee, he's having the year of his life. And Albert Pujols, it's just an average year.
Just normal. But I think that pitcher tells me another reason why, as I've always said before, we should have a Willie Mays Award. One of those guys is going to be the MVP probably. The other one might be the Player of the Year. So I think that would be great to have a Willie Mays Player of the Year to go along with the MVP.
On 1 to Jim Edmonds.
One guy could win both, of course.
Edmonds hit a home run his first time, and then with 2 on and 2 out in the 2nd inning, he tried to bunt and got thrown out to end the inning. And Pryor Gets strike 2 on the outside. 0-2 the count.
Well, he threw him a good changeup. As you see the defense, you know, playing around to pull. Threw him a good changeup, and then he came back with a good fastball away.
So it didn't look like they were expecting him to bunt this time, the way the defense is playing. That's too low. Another changeup. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Jim Edmonds. Prior in the first inning gave up 3 runs and a double and a walk. Since then has allowed only 1 hit, and that shouldn't have been. He was late covering first base. Allowed a hit on what should have been an out. Deep center, but not deep enough. Hairston heading for second, Pujols, and he's going to make it easily. Albert, when he saw Hairston square up, tagged up, and he very opportunistically took the extra base.
Well, remember, Harrison was an infielder, so he has a short arm, so to speak. He doesn't have an outfielder's extended throwing arm. Nefi Perez went out and yelled at him, and for him to hit him, they were going to try to relay it, but it didn't work. But a good base running play there by Pujols. And watch, see, Harrison is an infielder. And watch this short, it'll be a short arm throw, not a real extension there. And he barely gets it to Nefi Perez. He wasn't going to be able to do it anyway, but you see Albert Pujols was tagging up all the way. And I'm sure that's something the Cardinals have discussed, you know, about running, you know, against Harrison, because, you know, he's an infielder and it's always going to be a longer throw from center field.
Now Mabry into deep center. Hairston back again, and again he's got plenty of room. Albert's tagging again. Why not? Heading for third. The throw comes all the way through this time, but not nearly in time. Albert in standing up. So Albert got a walk, and on 2 subsequent fly balls has gone around to third base.
Well, that one was a lot deeper, obviously, and a tougher throw, because he had to throw all the way to third base, which is a longer throw than it was to second. So Albert, you know, was going. That's the, you know, he was going to tag up probably just about any outfielder.
So Pujols over to third base. Now, the Cardinals, who is second on the team in stolen bases? Reggie Sanders, who's on the disabled list now, has 14 steals and leads the team. Who's number 2?
I don't want to look at the sheet.
No, that would be cheating. Only I'm allowed to look at the cheat at the cheat sheet. Redzolonic, the hitter, trying to get Albert home. Back at Pryor. He recovers and gets him. And the inning is over. Albert Pujols stranded at third. On to the 6th inning. Burnitz and then Ramirez coming up. And we'll be chatting with Tony La Russa for the Cardinals dugout in 60 seconds.
For relaxation, exercise, or family fun, it's Century Pool, located behind Toys R Us in Moline. At Century Pool, every swimming pool is custom made to your specifications. In ground and above ground, we have it all. At Century Pool, we also carry all of the supplies you'll need to maintain your pool. You'll also find a huge selection of spas and hot tubs to relax in. See our large showroom and check out the new River Pool by Century that lets you swim in place at your own pace. Expertise, knowledge, and competitive pricing. Century Pool behind Toys R Us in Moline.
Some things you can always count on.
You can count on your dog, family,
taxi, and you can count on the legendary Toyota Camry.
good gas mileage, dependability.
Or count on the safety features of Sienna and its available all-wheel drive.
Nice.
Or check out Highlander with its great MPG. So no matter what you count on,
Junk food, hair gel.
add Toyota to the list. Now get up to $1,250 Sienna cash back, $700 Camry cash, or $800 cash back on Highlander. Toyota, moving forward.
I'm Jon Miller with Joe Morgan, and we're very happy now to be joined by Tony La Russa, the manager of the Cardinals from the Cardinal dugout. Tony, welcome.
Well, thank you. Tony, I just wanted to ask you a question. You know, you have a guy at the top of your order now, Chris Carpenter. Does that make you a much better team going into the playoffs than it would have last year? Just say you're in the playoffs.
It's hard to say that, man. We got too much baseball left, but you know, whenever we're playing an important series, I don't care if it's trying to get to the playoffs or in the playoffs, the way Carp's taking charge, that's really a big key.
Tony, Scott Rowland, your great third baseman, on the disabled list. I mean, what's the time frame, and when do you hope to have him back? When can we reasonably expect that he'll be back?
Well, I think with a lot of our guys like Reggie and with Scott, if we get him back September 1st, we'd be pleased. And I don't know if we'll get him back to September 1st, but that's you know, that would be great. If not, when they come back. In the meantime, the games all count.
Would you rather have, you know, your offense generating the best possible numbers or your pitching staff going, say, you know, down the stretch?
Well, it's too easy to shut down an offense with great pitching. You know, we got a prior early, and then we can't do anything as much. So I'd rather pitch and defend than try to find a way to score.
All right.
Tony, many thanks.
Okay.
All right, Tony La Russa, manager of the Cardinals. We're going to let him get back to work now.
And I mean, that's the age-old question, John, because when you look at this Cardinals offense, you know, it's one of the best in baseball. You know, it can manufacture runs, they can hit the ball out of the ballpark, they can do a lot of things. But you heard what he said. It's too easy to shut down an offense with good pitching, so he'd rather have the pitching.
Here is Burnett with Aramis Ramirez on deck. 3-2. St. Louis leading Chicago as we start the 6th inning. Suppan on the mound for the Cardinals. He's only given up 4 hits in the first 5 innings. None of them to Burnett, who is flied out and grounded out. Eckstein at short. And Burnett is gone. He's 0 for 3, 1 away. And now Aramis Ramirez will come up. And we saw a former Cardinal and one of the great base stealers of his time, Vince Coleman, on the field between innings, Joe.
Yeah, well, that was his number. I talked to Vince earlier today, and that was, you know, his number was 29, so he's removing it. That tells you there's 28 days after this, you know, left in this stadium before next year. Vince stole 100 bases several times. I mean, he was probably the last of the 100 base, you know, 100 stolen base in the season guys.
I mean, there was a time where you just couldn't throw him out.
Right. I mean, he was very fast.
Everybody was trying to figure out how to do it, but basically, if he ran, he stole.
And he followed in the footsteps of Lou Brock, who was a great base stealer here as well.
Aramis Ramirez. Now the great 1-2 combination for power for the Cubs. Derek Lee, who's got 32 home runs and leads the National League. And tied for 4th in the league is Aramis Ramirez with 26 home runs. No other team has 2 guys who have been as prolific at hitting the long ball this year as these 2. Both with a real great shot to hit 40 or more. Derek Lee's already equaled his career record of 32. Ball on a strike. And that is too low. By the way, Andrew Jones hit 2 home runs today for Atlanta in the desert in Phoenix to tie Derek Lee for first place in the league in home run hitting. Andrew's got 32. He's having the year of his life. Those are the only runs Atlanta got today. They lost in Arizona 3-2. And Suppan down and away 3-1.
Now, I looked at the second half and I said the 2 teams that you really had to watch out for, one in the National League was the Atlanta Braves and the other in the American League was the Oakland A's. And the A's are upholding their part of it. I mean, they're playing great. But I felt that Atlanta was getting all their guys back healthy and that they would make a run. But so far, that hasn't happened.
Well, I mean, they've come back and tied. Well, tied Washington.
Yeah, but they've lost 2 out of the last 3.
They lost 2 out of 3 this weekend.
Yeah,
you're right.
Arizona.
3-2 the count to Ramirez, who rarely walks. I mean, he's a slugger, dangerous power hitter, hitting over 300, but he's only walked 28 times. Central Division standings, the Cardinals up top, then Houston, then the Cubs. Houston won again today. They win almost every day.
Well, when you have Pettit, Oswalt, and Clemens anchoring your staff, you got a pretty good chance of winning most days.
On the right side, Mark Gretzel on it, and that is out number 2. Let's check in with the studio now. Here's Scott Reese with a SportsCenter 30 at 30 update.
Well, John, we update you on the Red Sox and White Sox, and Tadahito Iguchi, a big day. 3 for 4, drove in 3, including that 2-run shot. Chi Sox win 6-4 on a hot day in Chicago, but you guys know a thing or two about that.
All right, 3-2. The Cardinals lead here. And Todd Hollinsworth is coming up. He is 0 for 2. Jeff Suppan with a 1-run lead, and he's handled these big Cubs sluggers pretty well. I mean, Lee is 0 for 1 with 2 walks. Burnett's the cleanup hitter, 0 for 3. Ramirez is 1 for 3 with a single. And the Cubs, apparently the Cubs are trying to make some deals. The ball is a fair ball. It hits off the box seat railing. Having to reverse his field is Mabry. Then he slips and falls out there. Mabry's hoping that a ball like that never gets hit again. He was heading into the corner, then he had to reverse and go back, and finally slipped and fell.
Well, Hollingsworth is not normally a real pull hitter, but I mean, he rips this ball just inside the line, down the right field line. No chance for Pujols to even move on it. And the Cubs have a chance to tie it with a base hit. You can see that pitch is breaking in just a little bit, looked like a cutter or something, and just rips it right down the line. And it hits off the seats there and bounces back toward center field.
Ooh. Man, he could have pulled a groin muscle on that one or strained a hamstring.
Well, he's in good shape. He stretches all the time.
It's a good thing he does stretch. He really stretched on that one. Here's Neifi Perez. A base hit could tie the game. Neifi takes a called strike, the slider on the outside.
And John, he got a lot of key hits for the Cubs early in the year. I know he's hitting, you know, his averages dropped a little bit, but I mean, you have to be very satisfied if you're the Cubs and what you've gotten from Neifi Perez replacing Nomar Garcia-Parra.
Well, if I'm a Cubs fan, I'm saying, well, that was then.
Yeah.
I only care about the moment. I care about now. He's hitting .250 with runners in scoring position this year. He had a runner in scoring position in the 4th inning. Ramirez at second and 1 out. But grounded out to first. He's got a runner at second and 2 down here as Mike Remlinger, the veteran left-hander, gets up in the Chicago bullpen. We're in the 6th inning. Cubs are down by just a run. On deck, Henry Blanco, and then the pitcher, Pryor, due up after him. Pryor, who's up around 100 pitches already in 5 innings. There's Blanco. And that's too low. 2-1 to Neifi Perez. Perez been around a long time, and he won a Gold Glove in years past. So there is Suppan. He's trying to win his 10th game of the year tonight. He's got a 1-run lead with the possible tying run. There, number 28, Hollingsworth in scoring position, and Neifi drives one right center. There is Mabry, and he makes the catch near the warning track. One man stranded. 3-2 St. Louis.
Good morning.
Hi.
Welcome to Bank of America. How can I help you?
Oh, we're new in town and we need a new checking account.
Sure.
In our last place, we had direct deposit and the checking was free.
We have that here, too.
Oh, good.
Did yours include online banking?
Free.
Unlimited online bill pay?
Free.
And total security protection if your debit card is ever lost or stolen?
Free.
Welcome to your new bank. Let's get you started.
Great.
Bank of America. Higher standards.
Major League Baseball on XM Satellite Radio.
If there's one thing baseball fans can agree on, it's Major League Baseball on XM Satellite Radio. Only XM brings you every team all season long, plus 100% commercial-free music. Beyond AM, beyond FM. XM Satellite Radio.
Fram is protection. No matter what you drive, no matter how you drive it. Before you slam it, Fram it.
We live paycheck to paycheck. We barely get done paying one bill and then another one comes in. I mean, what would we do if one of us really got sick?
Millions of hardworking Americans live without health insurance. Together RX Access can help. Sponsored by 10 top pharmaceutical companies, Together RX Access saves eligible people up to 40% on prescriptions. And it's free.
I feel like without your health, what else is there?
Call 1-800-444-4106 today.
Log on to MLB.com to follow baseball live on the web with MLB.com's real-time stats, game day audio, and MLB.tv. MLB.com, where baseball is always on.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell. Brought to you by Bridgestone, passion for excellence. Lowe's, where you'll find all your home improvement needs. Lowe's, where improving home improvement never ends. And Microsoft Windows. Start something passionate. Start anything you like.
I'm Jon Miller with Joe Morgan, your Sunday night telecasters. This is our 16th season of Sunday Night Baseball. 3-2 Cardinals is So Taguchi hitting 7th in the order. Takes a called strike from Mark Pryor. Pryor's had a couple of relatively quick innings in succession. He's now thrown 95 pitches for the game. And that bends Taguchi back.
Well, the point is, I mean, he's held the Cardinals scoreless since the first inning. And that's always, you know, a problem. If you get a good pitcher on the ropes and you don't put him away, then he always has a chance of coming back, and that's what Pryor has done. And that's what Tony La Russa was alluding to, the fact that they, you know, could not put the game away, and now they're in a situation where, you know, they're still struggling with Pryor on the mound.
Einar Diaz on deck, and then the pitcher Suppan due up 3rd in the inning. The Cardinal bullpen is busy. The count goes to 3-1. There's Brad Thompson, a right-hander, warming up in the Cardinal bullpen now. So you mentioned at the very outset, Joe, that Suppan is most often a 6-inning guy. That's a foul back out of play. He's thrown only 86 pitches, but they like to have their bullpen go ahead and handle things late in the game anyway with the lead. So Tony may not hesitate in pinch hitting for Suppan here. We'll see.
And remember, it's a very tough night to pitch, you know, with the humidity and the heat.
That is a foul ball on the 100th pitch thrown by Mark Pryor. Jose Oquendo, the third base coach there for the Cardinals, who once, although he's an infielder, and a good one,
pitched
very handy, he once pitched 4 innings in an extra inning game, a 19-inning game. And what's worse, he got the loss in the game. 3-2 the count. That one in the air to right field. A long run for Benitz. And he gets there now. One away. Taguchi retired after a long battle. First time he's been retired. The Goodyear game track. Nunez with a home run in the first, and Edmonds also hit a home run in the first. The very next batter, Mabry, also went yard. 3 homers in the first, but then Blanco homered in the second to get one of those runs back. And then Blanco with an RBI single in the fourth to not get another run. The score is 3-2. St. Louis leading the Cubs. And here is Einar Diaz. Diaz is grounded into a force play, and he is lined out to right. And there is John Rodriguez. Nice pickup at third. Now Ramirez slings it over to first for the out. Out number 2. I like how he kind of took his time once he got to his feet.
Well, this is a tough pickup. Watch, he gets it on the short hop, which makes it an easier play. It's not easy, but it's easier than it could have been. And then he gets up and throws a strike to Lee at first base. It's always easier to get the ball on the short hop or the big hop, and in between hop is where you really have problems.
Well, now John Rodriguez is going to pinch hit. Rodriguez, who is 27 years old, he had been in the minor leagues forever, but he got called up to the big leagues here recently. For the Cardinals, he's played in 6 games. He's had 2 homers, 2 doubles, and is hitting .381. And he's become a heroic figure among Cardinal fans already.
And it was funny when there you see what he's doing. He's measuring to get the exact spot he wants in the batter's box. That's pretty good. At least he knows exactly where he wants to start his at bat.
John Rodriguez, who grew up, in fact, was born in Manhattan, New York City. He's a great Yankees fan. This is his 7th day in the big leagues after 8 years plus in the minor leagues. Been in the organizations of both the Yankees and Cleveland Indians before coming to the Cardinals system. And the count is 0-1 to him. He got a change up there from Pryor. Went to Brandeis High School in Manhattan, and he was not drafted out of high school. He actually went to a tryout camp at Yankee Stadium in 1996 after graduating. And that is too low. He eventually got signed for a $1,000 bonus, but not from that tryout camp. It was later after playing in a summer league in the Bronx. There we know.
Johnny Rodriguez. J-Rod.
J-Rod. High and tight, a little calling card there from Mark Pryor. 2-1 the count. Rodriguez says he plays the game, kind of models himself after Paul O'Neill, one of his old Yankee heroes. He says O'Neill, if he struck out or swung at a bad pitch, he wasn't very happy. He says, I'm like him, and that I don't think a pitcher has the right to get me out. Something kind of like you too, Joe.
No, no.
High in the air, down the right field line, hooking into the corner. That ball is a foul ball. That was a soaring, majestic drive, but just almost a home run.
And you see a little wink there from Pryor. He was winking at Ramirez like, I got away with one, but I got him under control. You can see the ball comes down. As long as you can continue to see the ball, you'll know that it was foul, but that was fouled by a little bit.
Well, he's hit 2 already in only 21 big league at bats. And a fastball that ran away from him and fouled it back. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That wasn't just a fastball. That was Pryor's best fastball, John, because he winked at Ramirez as if to say, I got away with that changeup. Now I'm going to give him my best fastball. And he did. And you could see that J-Rod was a little late on it, but he did foul it off.
And the changeup strikes him out. And the inning is over. On to the 7th. Blanco coming up. 3-2 Cardinals.
I'm proud to build trucks and SUVs to a higher standard. Professional grade.
I'm proud to make an SUV with the tightest turning radius.
Best V8 fuel economy.
Most horsepower in its class. I'm proud to innovate.
And I'm proud to offer something we've never done before.
Our very own employee discount. You pay what we paid.
Not a cent more.
Get a 2005 Yukon Denali all-wheel drive for just $44.16 with your employee discount. See your local GMC dealers today.
The X Games on ESPN. When does athletic skill transcend the sport? When does a trick become a miracle? X Games 11 live on ESPN. Starts Thursday, August 4th at 9. Brought to you by Mountain Dew.
Too bad she dunked it. She didn't dump me. We're just taking a break. Right. That's good. Can't believe you locked this thing, man. Sweet! Let's roll! Wait, what? Ooh. Not cool.
How about a do? Thanks.
Life doesn't stand still, and neither do we. That's why families trust Lowe's for flooring. Not because Lowe's has the widest selection, which we have, or because we have great values on flooring and installation, or because Lowe's promises low prices every day guaranteed, which you know we do. You see, at Lowe's, improving home improvement never ends.
Use your Lowe's card and pay nothing for 12 months on all purchases of $2.99 or more.
A cool head. And a new copier. $2,500.
Dinosaur.
Dedication.
And a coffee maker. $69.
A sense of humor.
And a mop. $17. Having what it takes to run a business? Priceless. To see what the MasterCard Business Card can do for your business, visit our website.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. Tonight from Busch Stadium in St. Louis, the Cubs and Cardinals, the Middle America baseball rivalry. And if you're in Chicago or here, you talk about, yeah, the Yankees Red Sox, that's almost like the Cubs Cardinal thing. Here is Brad Thompson on in relief of Jeff Suppan. Thompson, who is only 23 years old, and he throws a called strike. Cardinals have reworked that bullpen a little bit since last year, and the guys they brought in have done real well. Thompson, a sinker baller, and a nice curveball. Called the ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. That looked pretty good to me, though, Joe. I'm calling that curveball a strike.
Well, I'm not umpiring tonight.
1 ball, 1 strike. 1-2 now. Another curveball from Thompson. Jose Macias has come out on deck for the Chicago Cubs. Mark Pryor has thrown 108 pitches in 6 innings, so he's finished. Michael Wirtz getting ready in the Chicago bullpen. Another sellout, nearly 50,000 at Busch Stadium. 49,762 as Blanco hits it off his foot. Blanco, who's knocked in both of the Cubs' runs in this game, a home run in the second and a 2-out RBI single in the fourth. So he's been the man for the Chicago Cubs tonight.
Don't use that here in Chicago, in St. Louis.
He's been El Hombre.
Thank you.
No,
Yeah, you can do that. But
I
not
thought that was Pujols.
Well, it is Pujols, but at least people aren't familiar with that yet. But they do know who the man is in St. Louis. Dan Musial's always the man.
He's been el primer jugador.
Okay, that's better.
There's a roller into shallow left field, and here's the throw by Eckstein, and he only threw it, I think, because he knew Blanco was running. But even then, it was not nearly in time. A base hit for Blanco. He's got 3 hits.
Well, Eckstein really had no chance once this ball went in the hole. Even with the fact that the catcher was running, you can see how deep he is, and he doesn't have, the strongest of arms anyway. But I mean, that's a base hit all the way.
I mean, he doesn't look like a shortstop.
No, he doesn't. But he gets the job done, and he does it beautifully. I mean, he is kind of like one of those guys that made himself into an excellent player by doing every little thing you can do on the field. He gets rid of the ball quicker. He does, he doesn't have the strong arm like some of these shortstops, but he just gets rid of it much quicker. Does everything.
The conventional wisdom was that the Red Sox upgraded at short with Edgar Renteria, and that the Angels upgraded at short with Orlando Cabrera, and the Cardinals had to make do with David Eckstein. And yet, of those 3 shortstops, Eckstein's the one who went to the All-Star game. 1 ball and no strikes now to Jose Macias, who got the possible tying run at first base. Macias, a switch hitter, was showing bunt on that first bid. What do you think, Joe? Are they bunting?
Well, you don't see a lot of this in the National League because, you're on the road, playing for a tie on the road. But that seems to be what they're doing here.
It rolls foul on the first base side.
And it could be because of the fact that they've had trouble scoring runs here this weekend. And they say that the Cardinals haven't scored since the first inning. So if we can tie this ball game, we have a good shot of winning. I think there are times when you do play for a tie on the road just to extend the game, because as you mentioned, you do not want to go into the late innings trailing the Cardinals because they have their bullpen set up pretty much the way they want it. There's Ray King throwing, and they have, of course, Jason Isringhausen as their closer.
So Macias has shown bunt on the first 2 pitches. He bunted 1 foul just a moment ago. 1 ball, 1 strike. He shows bunt again. This is going to be another foul ball. 1-2.
And I watched the Mets play the Dodgers yesterday, and they were executing all the sacrifices when they had the opportunity to do so. And Reyes failed to do it, and then he hit a triple to drive in the tying run. So execution is still the most important part of trying to bunt.
You see the Cardinal bullpen overall has been up or near the top in several categories, but that's the whole bullpen. The guys that he ordinarily uses with a lead late in the game, they're even better than that. As Macias swings away with 2 strikes and bounces that one foul.
Yeah, one of the things that I like to see, if you're going to, you square around the bunt the first pitch saying it's a ball, I like to see a hit and run from there because the pitcher's got to throw a strike on the next pitch. And that'll give you a chance to pick out a pitch and try to, hit and run or something.
So Jason Isringhausen, number 44, over near the fan in the Cardinal bullpen. He's the guy they bring in the 9th inning when they're ahead. Broken bat. Gretzenik the second one. Eckstein to first. 2, a double play.
And the failure to get the bunt down not only cost 1 out, but it cost him 2.
Nice feed there by Gretzenik.
and a good quick release by Eckstein, because again, he doesn't have the strongest arm, but he gets rid of it. Now watch, you mentioned Grezzolani gets it to him quickly. He gets rid of it quickly, and you see where he is closer to first base than you see a lot of shortstops. He cuts off that distance by coming toward first base. Look where he ends up. But you also bring the runner closer to you by doing that, so if you get rid of it quick enough, you're okay.
And a sharp slider for a strike to Jerry Hairston, who is 1 for 3, batting with 2 down and nobody on now. You know, that replay, Albert Pujols' foot almost came off the bag there on that throwback from Eckstein. It was a little bit high. And that fastball is just off the outside. A ball, another strike. Take a look.
Well, I watched the beauty of the middle infielders. And the beauty of the middle infield is the ballet out there. You're into pulling feet off the bag and all that stuff. I'm into that ballet I saw out at second base with the second baseman and the shortstop. That was prettier than this little stretch here by Pujols. And his foot is still on the bag, I think. Can't really tell.
Yeah, you can't tell.
No, from that angle.
He may have real spikes on it.
Yeah, but I tell you what, he did look very quickly at the first base umpire to make sure that he had called him out. He looked at C.B. Buckner very quickly.
But there was no big argument going on from the Cubs. I'm the only one arguing.
What's new?
2-2. 2-2 the count to Hairston. And there is Nunez. And that ends the inning. Looked like Albert had his foot on the bag that time, no question. Top of the order, Eckstein, Nunez, and Albert Pujols coming up.
What type of business do you own? Retail store, service business, machine shop? Then it's for sure you'll need this. May we be of service? Tristle, Graham, and Tool. Insurance, it's our only business.
Some things you can always count on.
You can count on your dog, family,
taxi, and you can count on the legendary Toyota Camry.
good gas mileage, dependability.
Or count on the safety features of Sienna, and it's available all-wheel drive.
Nice.
Or check out Highlander with its great MPG. So no matter what you count on,
junk food, hair gel.
add Toyota to the list. Now get up to $1,250 Sienna cash back, $700 Camry cash, or $800 cash back on Highlander. Toyota, moving forward.
If your business operates vehicles like this, or this, or this, then you know the importance of the right insurance. May we be of service? Tristle, Graham, and Tool. Insurance, it's our only business.
Paying tribute to sports across America. Sports Center, 50 states in 50 days. Continues all summer long on ESPN.
Today, you're a super painter with the Wagner Quick Touch Power Roller. One touch, and you control a continuous flow of paint. The innovative Power Roller. One of the ways Wagner gives you more power, because there's always something that needs painting. Wagner. Paint fast. Paint smart.
Sunday Night Baseball, Cubs, Cardinals in St. Louis, and John and Joe talked about the grittiness of David Eckstein. You don't know the half of it. Kidney disease runs in his family. David fortunate enough not to have it, but that means he's a likely donor. He's got 4 siblings, 5 kids in the family. 3 of them are afflicted with the disease. His mother's already been a donor. His dad was scheduled to come see David in the All-Star game in Detroit. They talked the Sunday before that, and he said, "I can't breathe," and handed the phone to his mother. After that, they talked. He was out of it for a few days. He was in the hospital. He's been on dialysis since. And then when he finally came to and talked to David, he said, "How come he didn't play the whole game?" David said with all the history they've had, and he's got 2 nephews who are battling kidney disease and will eventually need a donor as well, he said, "Hey, if you're not dying, we're not too worried about it in the Eckstein family."
Great story, Gary. Thank you. As Eckstein takes a called strike from the new Cubs pitcher Michael Wirtz on in relief of Mark Pryor. 3-2 the Cardinals lead. Eckstein is 0 for 3 in this game. I asked Eckstein about his dad before the game tonight, and he said that he's doing well, and the surgery for his dad is scheduled August the 19th. 0-2 the count to Eckstein. Yeah, Abraham Nunez on deck, and then Albert Pujols due up third in the inning. Wirtz with a slider down and away. This guy's a big, hard thrower, and one of several young guys the Cubs have coming out of their farm system to throw hard. But he's also rather erratic and tends toward wildness. He's walked 25 in 41 and 2/3 innings. He had been a setup man in front of the closer Dempster for a while, but now lately, Dusty, because of the erratic nature of what Wirtz has been doing, has been using Roberto Novoa more often in the setup role, as Ullman, a left-hander, is up in the Chicago bullpen.
John, you were talking about David Eckstein and his off-field problems, with his family and his dad. Sometimes this can be a sanctuary for you, playing this game every day, getting your mind off of, some of the things that are going on outside. And because I remember Pete Rose was going through a lot of problems, and he had a 44-game hitting streak. This was, helped him to cope with all the problems he had off the field.
Collinsworth. There is out number 1.
Because you definitely need to keep your mind off for some of those things if you're going to play this game. And we talked about Eckstein and what he's made himself a good player, and he always hustles. If that ball drops, he's going to be at second easily. But he plays the game the way it's supposed to be played, and that's why La Russa likes him. He doesn't have all the talent in the world, but what he does have, he gets the most out of it.
And you mentioned La Russa and Mike Scioscia.
Yeah,
loved him for all those same reasons in Anaheim, as Nunez loves the bunt and takes ball 1. St. Louis signed Abraham Nunez on the recommendation of former Major League manager Jim Leland, who saw him play a lot in Pittsburgh. Nunez played for 6 years for the Pirates. Leland still lives in the Pittsburgh area, and he works for the Cardinals. And of course, in the offseason, actually talked to the Phillies about going to work for them, going back into the dugout as a big league manager. There's Ralph Giacotti, the man who actually did sign Nunez.
We're talking about. I saw Jim Leland at the All-Star game this year. He was there at the Home Run Derby, and we talked for quite a while. And he is thinking about coming back. He wants to maybe get back into Major League managing.
Well, there's a 4-pitch walk with Albert Pujols coming up, and that's hard to imagine. Now let's check in with the studio. Here's Scott Reese, a SportsCenter 30 at 30 update.
Okay, John, Lance Armstrong wins his 7th straight Tour de France title. The final margin of victory, more than 4.5 minutes. Elsewhere, Ricky Williams reports to Dolphins camp nearly a year to the day after telling the team he was retiring from football. These stories and more on SportsCenter after the game. John and Joe, back to you.
All right, here's Albert Pujols, one of the great hitters in the game. He is 0 for 2 with a walk. The runner goes. They throw down to second. The tag, and he is out. Nunez had a little hesitation on that pop-up kind of a slide, trying to avoid that tag by Walker, but he got him anyway.
Well, that was a hit and run, John. I think that they were trying to get Albert going, trying to keep him from pulling off the pitches. There he goes. And you see Albert still pulling off a little bit, and he swings at it and misses it. The thing I said has always made him a great hitter is balance and aggressiveness. So he doesn't have the balance now, and it could be because his shoulder's bothering him, and he says it's not, but it could be.
Nice play by Derek Lee in foul ground. And Albert Pujols is 0 for 3. The Cardinals have not had a hit since the 2nd inning. Now to the 8th. The big hitters coming up. Todd Walker, Derek Lee, Jeremy Burnitz. It's 3-2 St. Louis.
Classic day planner, satellite feed, digital camera, zips up, so it's good to go. Classic watch, plays MP3s, checks email, it's good to go.
How about that?
That's my lunch. Crunchwrap Supreme, classic Taco Bell taste, grilled. So it's good to go.
Genius.
I know.
The new Crunchwrap Supreme from Taco Bell. Beefy, melty, crunchy, cool, classic Taco Bell taste loaded into a flour tortilla and grilled for maximum portability. For classic Taco Bell tastes that are good to go, think outside the bun.
Fram is protection. No matter what you drive, no matter how you drive it. Before you slam it, Fram it.
So the Dodgers are down to their last out. Game 1 of the World Series. And look who's coming up. Kirk Gibson with 2 bad legs. You talk about a roll of the dice. This is it. High fly ball into right field. She is gone!
With 100% whole grain, low fat, and fiber, the Breakfast of Champions brings out the champion in you.
The impossible has happened.
Sports are great for a kid's body. Steroids aren't. They can ruin tendons in legs and arms. Steroids can stunt bone growth and increase the chances of liver cancer, heart attack, and stroke. Steroids don't make great athletes. They destroy them. Talk to your kids. Need help? Get help. Visit drugfree.org.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And in part by Wheaties, the breakfast of champions.
Here come the Cubs now. I'm Jon Miller with Joe Morgan bringing you Sunday Night Baseball from St. Louis. 3-2 the Cardinals leading. First ball swinging. Walker into medium deep left center field. Plenty of room out there for Taguchi. And just like that, there is one away. Brad Thompson still on the mound for the Cardinals, but the bullpen is very busy as Derek Lee, the possible tying run, comes up.
John, I know you didn't miss him, but I missed Marty Aronoff, and I'm told that he had knee surgery this week and that everything went well. So looking forward to getting Marty back with us.
He had the arthroscopic surgery, and he'd been working statistics hurt for several weeks.
He's supposed to take one for the team.
Finally on the disabled list. There's ball 1 to Derek Lee. Tied for the major league lead in home runs now with Andrew Jones of Atlanta. Tonight he's walked twice and grounded out to third. Home run would tie the game. And that's too low. 2-0.
Well, the one thing that we've seen from Lee tonight is he's starting to be a little more patient, which is good. He's not going to go out of the strike zone. He's trying to get a pitch to hit. If they won't give him one, he goes ahead and takes his walk.
He might be taking a walk here very shortly. That's ball 3. Although it's a little more risky now to walk him because he is the possible tying run. You've got the cleanup hitter, Burnett's on deck. And then the other great slugger, Aramis Ramirez. But he does walk on 4 pitches, and he's walked 3 times in 4 trips to the plate tonight. La Russa with the left-handed hitter coming up has got the left-hander, the specialist, Ray King, in the bullpen. The catcher out to the mound to talk to Thompson as La Russa visits a little bit with Dave Duncan, who's calling the bullpen to make sure everything's looking good out there. And now La Russa heads out. So Ray King will be coming in to take on Jeremy Burnett with a possible tying run at first base. 3-2 St. Louis.
Smooth from the first taste. Refreshing every single time. The great taste of Bud Light. The summer is calling, and so are the friends. Bud Light. Great taste for your great times.
I'm an American West mortgage specialist. Whether your dream is to buy a home, refinance, or see the Rolling Stones, I'm here to help. Good. That's why Hi, we're sponsoring the Rolling Stones tour. For your chance to win tickets, go to AmeriQuest.com. AmeriQuest Mortgage, proud sponsor of the American Dream.
How Kate Fooled the Bear by Sure. Kate chose Sure Unscented. Jane applied a flowery scent. Oh no, the bear has caught a whiff, but only Jane's, because Kate seems undetectable. Smart thinking, Kate. Odor-free Sure Unscented. Protection that's undetected.
Boys and Girls Clubs of America is the official charity of Major League Baseball. Together, they create a positive place for kids. A lot of kids, a lot of families at the ballpark tonight for the Cubs and Cardinals. 49,762 all told in attendance. And there's an all-star, Joe. And a future all-star, maybe.
Yeah.
And there's always a sea of red in the stands. The fans here, just as if attending a college football game, they come wearing the colors. But when the Cubs are in town, you see a lot of blue as well. And the same thing happens when they play at Wrigley Field. In fact, to prove it, we may just go to Wrigley the next time the Cardinals are there for Sunday Night Baseball.
I think it'd be a good game to watch. There are a couple of Cub fans.
There's one guy who's expecting maybe a home run to be hit out there.
Well, Pryor for president, Lee for MVP. I think the MVP has a chance.
He's a fan at work. Got the hard hat on. All right, here is Burnett's 2 hits in 8 career at-bats for Burnett's against Ray King. Runner at first, 1 out. And King's got to be mindful of Derek Lee, who is the possible tying run.
Not if he holds the ball that long.
This is the longest in history.
Well, somebody.
I keep expecting Burnett's to call timeout.
I would agree.
It's almost like they had a game of chicken going on there. Which guy was going to back away first? And Burnett said, it's not going to be me. I'm in here.
Sometimes pitchers will just hold the ball. That will keep the base runner at first base from stealing the base. The longer you hold it, the more tense he gets at first base.
Now Lee decided not to chance it there. At first, Einar Diaz acted as though he did not know where the ball was, but it was right next to him all along.
Well, I think the problem was Lee didn't know where the ball was either. If he could have seen it bounce to the right, he probably could have made it, but he didn't see where it went.
There's Yadier Molina, the regular Cardinals catcher. He's got a broken bone in his hand. He's on the disabled list for a while. Maybe in mid-August before he gets back. We had our Peter Pasquarelli do some adding and subtracting and some high-tech calculating, and he figures mid-August.
All right. Well, you heard Tony La Russa say he'd be happy if he could get Roland, Sanders, Walker, all of them to be back together, playing together in September 1st, and get ready, for the stretch run, whether it's to secure a playoff berth or to get ready for the playoffs.
You had him already in the playoffs, and Tony I was
wrong.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I was wrong. I was wrong to put him in that position.
That was a leading question.
Yeah, I know, but I was wrong to put him in that position. I feel like he's in the playoffs, but put him in that position.
You threw him a changeup, and Tony laid off.
Yeah, he did, and I thought he was a good changeup hitter, but he just laid off of it. I threw him a softball, right?
He's looking for the fastball, Joe.
Yeah.
Jeremy Burnett's 0 for 3 in the game. And the count now, 2 balls and a strike with Aramis Ramirez, the right-handed slugger, on deck. The Cardinals have a right-hander getting ready in the bullpen for him. Will Ullman, a left-hander, is up in the Chicago bullpen. Also, Roberto Novoa, a right-hander, is up out there in Chicago's pen. 2 balls and a strike. Lee, the runner at first. There is Taguchi. He's been a busy man out there tonight. He's caught everything. Out number 2. Lee back to first. Here comes La Russa now. He's got Julian Tavares, a right-hander, who's been heating up in the bullpen, the sinker baller. And Tavares is going to get the call now with 2 down. And one of the Cubs' great sluggers, Aramis Ramirez, coming up. 3-2 St. Louis. We'll be right back.
There's a certain team in Senior Division B, the Exiles. They're young, fast, and undefeated. On Sunday, they will lose because we've taped all their plays. We've downloaded all their games. We've even trained with obscure Brazilian drill software. It's our heads versus their feet. And this time, we'll win.
Start something victorious. Start anything you like with a world of software and devices that run on Windows.
Well, it wasn't until Hurricane Charlie was over the real danger began.
I'm State Farm Agent Dan Mann, and this is a true story.
I'm a diabetic, and so when the power goes out, that's real bad.
His insulin had to stay cold.
He brought me ice.
Plus a check for emergency living expenses.
Before my neighbor even heard from his insurance company. And with all the thousands of people that needed help down here, I felt like there only one.
When you need someone most, nobody takes care of you like State Farm.
We'd love to prove it to you. Call an agent today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I'm proud to build trucks and SUVs to a higher standard.
Professional grade.
I'm proud to build the world's most powerful V8 pickups.
The most powerful midsize SUVs.
The most powerful full-size SUVs.
And I'm proud to offer something we've never done before.
Our very own employee discount. You pay what we pay.
Not a cent more.
Get an 05 Yukon two-wheel drive SLE for just $28,688 with your employee discount. See your local GMC dealers today.
Seemed like a good idea at the time.
Century 21 agents won't leave you to fend for yourself to sell your home. They're committed to finding as many qualified buyers as possible. To find out more, visit century21.com.
Sunday Night Baseball from St. Louis. Cardinals 3, Cubs 2. Fred Bird, the Redbird, got a good seat down near first base. And the State Farm trade report. The San Diego Padres have been busy. They acquired third baseman Joe Randa from Cincinnati yesterday for a couple of minor league pitchers. And there is a deal that is pending involving the Padres. We're trying to send Phil Nevin to Baltimore in exchange for right-handed pitcher Sidney Ponson. Nevin has a limited no trade in his contract, and Baltimore is one of the teams that he could refuse being traded to. So everybody's kind of waiting for Nevin to say yes or no on that possible deal.
Well, I saw where a quote from his agent today said it's 50-50 that he won't go. So I guess that means it's 50-50 that he will also. But he turned down a trade last year going to Cincinnati for Ken Griffey Jr. supposedly. So
here's Aramis Ramirez. 26 home runs for the year. Runner at first. First ball swinging. That is a foul ball. Handled by Nunez. He made a throw, but it was a foul ball. One strike the count to Ramirez. Ramirez has had 5 hits in 20 at-bats lifetime against Tavares as Lee goes back to first. Lee, the possible tying run. This is where you're talking about, Joe. The Cubs have scored nearly half of their runs for the year on home runs. So the question is how they're going to score runs if they don't hit any. And lately it seems like Ramirez is hitting a home run almost every day. And every other day, Ramirez and Lee are both hitting home runs. They've been pitching around Lee all night. He's walked in 3 times. He's at first. And that's down and in the sinker at 94 miles an hour from Tavares. 1 ball and 1 strike. Lee and Pujols over there at first base. Neither one has had a hit tonight. Although Lee's only had actually 1 at bat where he wasn't walked. Pujols 0 for 3 with 1 walk. Cubs had that bunt that did not work in the 7th, and it turned into a double play. That's a apparently part of the problem for them. That ball is hit deep left field. Taguchi back. Goodbye. Home run. He does it again. Aramis Ramirez on the Os Pelota, and the Chicago Cubs have a 4-3 lead.
Well, it was a slide piece, and I'm sure Gary Matthews is glad to see that. A little slide piece from Tavares, and it didn't look like it was a bad pitch. It looked like it was down. Let's see what part of the plate it gets. Well, it gets the middle of the plate, but it is down. If he gets that ball away, Ramirez can't reach it. But it was down, but it just wasn't away enough, and Ramirez hits a line drive almost off the back wall.
And you can hear all the Cubs fans in attendance. Here is Todd Hollandsworth. The Cubs, who fell behind 3-0 in the first inning, have now gone ahead here in the 8th, and Tavares was dejected, as you might expect, and upset, frustrated, as you saw that one sail over the wall. Hollandsworth had a double his last time.
Well, I mean, it's interesting, you know, you've talked about it all through in the game about how hot Ramirez was, and you just can't, you know, give him opportunity after opportunity, and he just took advantage of it.
Well, what is that? 7 home runs for him in the last 8 games.
And 13 RBIs.
1 ball, 1 strike. Inside. 2-1 now. 4-3. The Cubs have come all the way back. The Cardinals started this game with 3 homers and a double in the very first inning. But they've had only 1 hit since the first and none since the second. And now for the first time they are trailing. 2-1 the count to Hollandsworth. There's Grudzielanek. And that's the inning. But a walk to Lee. They pitched around him again, and then Ramirez with the 2-run homer. And the Cubs lead 4-3. Edmonds coming up.
I knew he'd come in handy someday.
I'm State Farm agent Ephraim Sanchez, and this is a true story.
I never knew that his good grades would save us money on car insurance.
I never knew he could get good grades.
He cheated.
He had a tutor. When I found out about Mark's grades, I got him a good student discount.
Dad, if you get me a car, we could get another discount.
Mark's getting a car?
That's so not fair.
More drivers get more discounts from State Farm than anybody else. See what a State Farm agent could save you today.
Like a good neighbor.
State Farm is there.
When I pop into a new town, I like to make friends quick. Let's do this. Look at this. There once was a man from Nantucket. Stop me if you heard this one. Meet me in the grocery aisle. Right by the beer. I'm very near. You know why divorce is so expensive?
Why?
It's worth it. Come on, I'm available.
And the wheel goes round. And the wheel goes round.
I'm proud to build trucks and SUVs to a higher standard. Professional grade.
I'm proud to make an SUV with the tightest turning radius.
Best V8 fuel economy.
Most horsepower in its class. I'm proud to innovate.
And I'm proud to offer something we've never done before.
Our very own employee discount. You pay what we pay.
Not a cent more.
Get an 05 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab 2-wheel drive SLE for just $24,116 with your employee discount. See your local GMC dealers today.
Follow your team's run down the stretch live right from your desktop. Log on to ESPN.com for MLB.tv and get the most baseball available anywhere, live, online. Sign up for MLB.tv and never miss a game again. Go on to ESPN.com and check it out. Here is Will Ullman, 27-year-old left-hander. He was born in Frankfurt, West Germany. Went to high school in Parker, Colorado. Lives in Southern California. Went to Pepperdine University. And he throws a breaking ball for a called strike to Jim Edmonds. He's got a couple of lefties due up here. Edmonds followed by Mabry. And so Dusty Baker goes to the left-hander Ullman. He's a big, strong-looking guy. That's a roller to second. Todd Walker, and there's one away.
Nice pitch there by Ullman because Edmonds took the first curveball so he could get a read on it, but then he threw him a different speed on the curveball, and he was out in front of it. So 2 good pitches there by Ullman. Now this one's a little slower than the first one. And you see he gets way out in front. He even tried to check his stoppage swing, but he was out in front of it because the speed was different than the first curveball.
Remember, the Cardinals are a little short-handed right now. They've got people on the disabled list. 3 members of their regular starting lineup on the disabled list. Rowland, Sanders, and Molina. Larry Walker's got a neck problem. Not able to start the ball game tonight. And Mabry hits a foul. Both of these lefties, Edmonds and Mabry, hit home runs in the very first inning. There's Reggie Sanders. He got hurt in a real freak play. He and Jim Edmonds both going for a fly ball, and they collided, and Sanders suffered a broken bone in his right leg. And Scott Rowland, of course, has been bothered since early this year after he collided with Hee-Sop Choi on a play at first base. He's had a bad shoulder. 2-1 the count to John Mabry. Since his home run in the first, he has struck out and fly to center. That curveball spins him around, and it's 3-1. The Cardinals' only hit since the first inning was an infield single. As you see, Novoa up in the bullpen. Abraham Nunez had an infield single in the second inning, and it really was a mistake by Mark Pryor. It should have been an out. That's the only hit they've had since the first. Oh, man, that was a sharp, biting break that time. 3-2 the count. Cardinals had 3 homers and a double in the first, and have been pretty well shut down ever since. 3-2. That breaking ball is ripped foul down the right field line.
Well, you know, we talked about it at the time. We said if Pryor could get out of that first inning with little damage that he'd already suffered, then, you know, he'd have a chance to shut him down. Obviously, he didn't do it in Pryor fashion where he just blew guys away, but he did shut the Cardinals out the rest of the way that he pitched.
6 innings all told for Pryor. No runs, 1 hit in his last 5 innings. Although he only ended up with 2 strikeouts tonight. There's Isringhausen, Cardinals closer. He may be getting ready for the 9th inning. Cardinals do not have a game tomorrow scheduled. 3-2. Strike 3 call. The breaking ball got him looking. 2 down.
Well, the first pitch he threw to Edmonds started right at the hitter and broke over the plate. That one seemed to start at Mabry and break over. Let's see. Yeah, it starts outside and breaks well over the inside part of the plate. Starts at him and breaks over, I should say.
Dusty Baker is going to bring in the right-handed Novoa with the right-handed batting Grutzelanic due up. A new left fielder will come in as part of a double switch. 4-3 Cubs will be back.
Over 10,000 patents. 119 years of automotive innovation. 66 years of safety testing. But only one Mercedes-Benz summer event. Now through August 1st, the one to remember. See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for a special lease offer on the 2006 E350 sedan. Visit your local authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer today.
Welcome to the future of swimming. Introducing the River Pool by Century Pool. For the first time ever, you can swim uninterrupted laps anytime, all from the convenience of your own home. The River Pool is only 11 feet by 18 feet and constructed with Century Pool's revolutionary fabrication techniques. Call Century Pool now at 797-9721 or visit our showroom behind Toys R Us in Moline. To stay in shape, for therapy, or family fun, the River Pool by Century, a bold step in a new direction.
Millions of American families rely on Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury cars, trucks, and sport utilities. Right now, Ford Motor Company, America's car company, invites you to join the family and pay the same low prices our employees and their families pay. Introducing the Ford Family Plan. Until August 1st, you'll get our discounts on every Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury vehicle at participating dealerships. No hassles, no gimmicks. From the Ford family to yours. Welcome.
My oldest friend. My east. My west side. My private side. My heartbreak. My heartbeat. My life happens here. My card is American Express.
ESPN Fantasy Football Magazine on newsstands now.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of...
First ball swinging against Roberto Novoa. And Mark Grudzielanek has grounded out to the shortstop, Nefi Perez. Novoa ends the 8th inning on just that one pitch. Now to the 9th inning from St. Louis, 4-3, Cubs.
I'm proud to build trucks and SUVs to a higher standard.
Professional grade.
I'm proud to build the world's most powerful V8 pickups.
The most powerful midsize SUVs.
The most powerful full-size SUVs.
And I'm proud to offer something we've never done before.
Our very own employee discount. You pay what we pay.
Not a cent more.
Get an 05 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab two-wheel drive SLE for just $24,116 with your employee discount. See your local GMC dealers today.
Seemed like a good idea at the time.
Century 21 agents won't leave you to fend for yourself to sell your home. They're committed to finding as many qualified buyers as possible. To find out more, visit century21.com.
Tonight at Red Roof Inn, guests get great deals at redroof.com.
Oh, that deal's hot!
And get a great deal more than they expected.
How low can you go?
Don't miss red hot deals from Red Roof Inn and Accor Hotel.
Verizon Broadband, the world's most advanced network, brings your employees, suppliers, and customers together so they can go about their business seamlessly.
Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN coming to you in high definition tonight. And there's a look at the high definition monitor out in left field here at Busch Stadium to give everybody a look-see. And the home run hit by Aramis Ramirez, the big hit that turned this game around. A two-run big fly in the 8th inning to give the Cubs a 4-3 lead. So that's on the monitor out there in left field. There's the real thing. You better go check out the high definition set, and it'll put you right in the ballpark every Sunday night on ESPN. In fact, ESPN is a real pioneer in the whole high-definition movement. Here is Nefi Perez against the new Cardinal pitcher, Jason Isringhausen, and Nefi fouls one away. 0-1. Perez is 0 for 3. Henry Blanco and Jody Garrett will follow. The Cardinals have been shut down since the first inning of this game. They had a 3-0 lead. Now they trail 4-3 here in the 9th inning. When Dusty Baker brought in Roberto Novoa to face Grudzielanek, he also brought in Jody Garrett, the former Cleveland Indians outfielder, to play left field. So Garrett moves into the 9th spot in the order. And Novoa went in where Hollingsworth had been, the number 6 spot. Little fly ball, and there's Taguchi. I mean, Taguchi, we have to add up how many fly balls he's caught tonight. He's been a busy man out there.
There's Ryan Dempster, the closer for the Cubs now.
So 6 fly balls caught by Taguchi tonight. Cardinals in the ninth are due to have Taguchi, Einar Diaz, and in the pitcher's spot.
Well, let's speculate.
The only lefty they have left on the bench is Larry Walker, but Larry's hurting right now. Henry Blanco, he kept the Cubs in this game with his bat. That's not why he's here. I mean, he's got a great arm. He calls an excellent game. He's a fine receiver, but has not hit very well. But tonight he's had a home run and an RBI single. He had driven in the Cubs' only runs until Ramirez home run in the 8th. Good slider there by Isringhausen. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So Dempster, who has become the Cubs closer as the season went along. He did not start the year as the closer. That was kind of a hanging curveball, but nearly fouled back by Blanco. Dempster's always been a starter in the past. They always thought that did he make a pretty good closer, and they finally put him out there to see.
Well, I think a lot of starters who throw the ball well could be closers.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Stay tuned now. SportsCenter comes up right after the ball game. I'm Jon Miller with Joe Morgan. This is Sunday Night Baseball. Gary Miller is also here with us. We have all of the top stories from the world of sports, including the complete baseball picture on SportsCenter. And what state will SportsCenter be in tonight? Kansas. Shallow right field. Pujols down the line. Well, they almost overran the ball, and then he just stopped and reached out and caught it as it dropped in over the shoulder. Nice play by Albert.
Well, Grzelcyk was closing in. I think that's why he actually stopped. He didn't want to run into Grzelcyk. But I think Pujols had it under control. Watch, you'll see Grzelcyk come into the picture here in a second. Right there, and I think he would have caught it as well. Here comes Grzelcyk. He's got his eyes on the ball, and both of them would have caught it.
Well, he's lucky that he didn't knock the ball out of Albert's glove.
Yeah. Well, especially when he closed his eyes.
Here's Jody Garrett. Curveball in there for a called strike. Jody Garrett had a. There's another look at it. Watch what happens there.
There's Grzelcyk's eyes. They're closed right there. But he knew where the ball was going to land. He could have caught it.
I mean, did you ever one time catch a pop-up with your eyes closed?
I'm sure he didn't know they were closed either. I don't think I did, but you never know.
Jody Garrett, formerly with Cleveland, he was acquired in a trade just a few days ago by the Cubs. They sent Jason Du Bois, big, strong right-handed hitter, over to Cleveland in that deal. Garrett runs pretty well, got some power, and is a very fine outfielder. He's out of Stanford, a college out in the West Coast.
Yeah, heard of it. Actually, I wanted to go there when I was a kid, but I didn't have the money or the grades, so I didn't make it.
So you went to
Cal State Hayward,
the college of the Houston Astros.
Oh yeah, first.
The 1-1 pitch. Albert Pujols off his glove, and Garrett is safe. Albert's going to get charged with an error on that one.
Well, the ball, you either have to come get it. He tried to go back on it. I think he would have been better off coming forward and short hopping it. But, you know, it wasn't an easy play for him to decide on. Watch, see, the big hop, you got to, right there, he gets it into in-between hop. As I said before, you get the ball on the short hop or the in-between hop. See, he goes away from it, not towards it, and that just makes it a tough play. I mean, it wasn't an easy play either way he tried to do it, but he chose the most difficult route.
First error for the Cardinals tonight, and here is Jerry Hairston. the leadoff man. He is 1 for 4. Garrett back to the bag at first. 4-3, the Cubs lead here in the 9th inning. The Cubs, who at the start of the day were just 1 game over 500 and 1 game back of Houston for 2nd place in the Central Division. Houston won its game, an extra inning game in Washington today. And the Astros have been extraordinarily hot for several weeks, almost a couple of months. In the wild card race, Washington and Atlanta are tied for first in the East, and either one of them would be the wild card leader. The Phillies are 3 games out. Houston 3.5, the Mets 3.5, the Marlins 4.5, then the Cubs. So they got a lot of teams in front of them in that wild card picture right now. And we mention that simply because they're 13 games back of the Cardinals. They had 14 of their games with the Cardinals left in the season starting this past Friday. And Dusty thought, you know, because Dusty always likes to look at the bright side of things. And you would figure that that would not be to the Cubs' advantage. But he said, hey, if we'd had to play them early this year when we were all banged up and they were at full strength, we might have been buried already. 1-2 to Hairston. Because now we're getting back to full strength and they're kind of banged up. Maybe that'll work out for us. After tonight, they'll have 11 remaining with the Cardinals. They'll still have 10 left with Houston. And they got a lot of home games left at Wrigley Field.
I think that's the most important statistic of all those numbers there. The home field advantage that they do have in Wrigley Field.
Although the Cubs have not played that well at home this year.
But that means they will. See, that was going to be my next thought. Because, you know, the friendly confines, as Ernie Banks would say, they will usually play well over the course of the whole season.
Well, they'll try and put that home field to good advantage starting tomorrow night. The San Francisco Giants come into Wrigley Field, while the Cardinals head out on the road to San Diego and L.A. Jason Isringhausen, 2 down. Runner at first. Hairston, the hitter. Todd Walker will be next, and Derek Lee behind him. There's Walker on deck. By the way, speaking of the big sluggers, Albert Pujols would not be due up until 6th in the next go round. That ball, a curveball inside, and it is 2-2. The Cardinals have the last third of their order due up in the last half of the 9th with Taguchi, and then the catcher Einar Diaz. And then a pinch hitter for Isringhausen.
Well, they may pinch. Well, it depends on how well Larry Walker is swinging the bat, or if he can swing the bat.
Yeah. So they're a little short-handed right now. 2-2 the count. Fastball. Did he swing? No, apparently not.
I have to say, this is as well as I've seen Isringhausen throw his fastball. I mean, that last one was clocked at 94 miles an hour. And he gets this fastball in tight. I mean, there's nothing Hairston could do about it. That's a very good fastball.
So now it's a full count. Garrett ready to run from first base with 2 down. He goes. And that breaking ball into center field. There's Jim Edmonds. And that's the inning. Last chance for the Cardinals. Ryan Dempster will be coming in. Taguchi, Diaz, and a pinch hitter due up. Chicago 4, St. Louis 3.
First base, $58. Second base, 630 pesos. Third base, 300,000 yen. Home, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Fan of the game, wherever there's a game.
The wheel goes round and round, we keep it moving, and they don't slow down. The wheel goes round and round, we keep it moving. Round and round. The wheel goes round and round, keep it moving. Oh yeah. Keep it moving. Yeah. Keep it moving. The wheel goes round and round, round and round, round and round, goes round and round.
So the Dodgers are down to their last out, game 1 of the World Series. And look who's coming up. Kirk Gibson with 2 bad legs. You talk about a roll of the dice. This is it. High fly ball into right field. She is gone!
With 100% whole grain, low fat, and fiber, the breakfast of champions brings out the champion in you.
The impossible has happened.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
Sports Center right after the ball game, and the Cubs and their fans are hoping that'll be very shortly. Cubs have a 4-3 lead in the last of the 9th inning now, and Ryan Dempster will be trying to get us all to Sports Center here post haste. The Cubs go to their closer, Ryan Dempster, and Dempster has had 14 consecutive save conversions, so he's certainly done the job in that regard. He is not allowed to run to anybody in 21 of his last 24 games. So here he is with Taguchi, Diaz, and the pitcher spot coming up. Mark Pryor went the first 6 innings, gave up 3 home runs. He had one of his worst innings ever, the first time he's ever given up 3 home runs in a game, much less 1 inning. But he never gave up anything after that and finished up 6 innings. Wirtz went 1. Oman and Novoa got a 3-up, 3-down 8th inning. In fact, the Cardinals, I mean, the reason Albert Pujols isn't close to coming up in this inning is because they haven't had a runner even left on base since the 5th inning. Fastball, a strike. 1 hit since the 1st inning. The total output by the Cardinals, and that was a hit that should not have been a hit.
That's where Pryor failed to cover first base in time.
Taguchi has walked twice and flied out to right. 1 ball, 1 strike. The third baseman, Aramis Ramirez, is playing in tight. As Dave Duncan, the pitching coach, talks it over with Jim Edmonds in the Cardinal dugout. You see how they're playing it. Derek Lee shaded toward the foul line on the first base line as well. The outfield is fanned out straight away. And that's a foul. And you can see Taguchi's approach there. He just tried to punch the ball somewhere.
Well, I think Dempster was overpowering him with the fastball. I just think that he's going to be a little tardy on that fastball. But you're right. All you can do is just kind of slap at it if you're late.
Dempster got the save here yesterday as Einar Diaz is out on deck. But it was a perilous journey to a save. He ended up getting 2 men on base. That slider high in the air to left field. There is Garrett. And she got to the warning track. 1 away. And here is Diaz. Now that was kind of a, I don't think he meant to throw that slider right where he threw it.
No, but I mean, it also shows you, I think the ball is carrying well here tonight. Well, you see the target out here, and you see where the ball is, right in the middle of the plate. But he was fooled a little bit by the speed, John. He was a little bit out in front of it.
So Dempster really got away with one.
Yeah, well, you either the slider or the curve gets you 2 ways, with the break of the ball or the speed, and I think the speed got him on that one. Sometimes it gets with you with both.
Einar Diaz. Now that was a good one. 0-1 the count. Scott Seabold has come out on deck now for the Cardinals. A longtime minor leaguer who has been up for the Cardinals for a while with all the injuries. 1 strike to count to Diaz, who is 0 for 3 in the game. Right to Todd Walker. Out number 2. And listen to all these Cubs fans here in St. Louis.
Well, the Cubs fans know this game is far more important for the Cubs than it is for the Cardinals. Obviously, Cardinal fans would love for them to win, but
The Cub fans need this to happen for the Cubs.
Scott Seabold comes up. Now Larry Walker is in the building tonight, but he's not coming up, so that tells us all we need to know about whether he's hurting or not.
Well, I actually think that he would have hit for Taguchi to start the inning if he was okay. Larry Walker also can walk. He can hit the ball out of the ballpark. I mean, he's a smart player. I mean, he can do a lot of things to start off the inning if you're 1 run down.
He's had 2 home runs in 13 career at-bats against Dempster. 2 down, nobody on. Strike on the outside. The Cubs now have what the players now call a no doubles defense on the infield. You see Cubs fans standing all around Busch Stadium cheering on Ryan Dempster.
Well, it's interesting they changed their defense on the infield but not the outfield.
Slider, foul, and it's 0-2.
See, in the outfield you're supposed to play so that if any ball stays in the ballpark, you know, you can catch it. But you can see there's a lot of room behind each of the outfielders here. You know, in most cases you play deep enough that the ball can't stay in the park without you catching it.
Seabold has 1 home run in 60 at-bats in the big leagues this year. 2 strikes with 2 down. Cubs lead 4-3. And went to the slider. That's an 88-mile-an-hour slider. 1 ball and 2 strikes. David Eckstein would be next. Albert Pujols 0 for 3 tonight with a walk.
And he's also 0 for his last 9. So he has been struggling whether he admits his shoulder's hurting or not.
Another hard slider. 2-2 the count. There's Eckstein. Always a bundle of energy. Pacing on deck. Ryan Dempster 1 strike away from giving the Cubs this series. And now it's 3-2. So instead of putting him away, now he's put himself into a little bit of a predicament. He needs to make a pitch here. 3-2 the count. And he walks him. And he threw him a slider on 3-2. Now Hector Luna is going to go over to first base, and he'll act as the pinch runner for Seabold. Luna's got a little more speed. Only stolen 2 bases. I mean, if you could steal a base right here, it seemed like that would be the play, because Eckstein is not a power hitter. He's more of a singles type hitter. 4-3, the Cubs lead. Here is Eckstein, 0 for 4 tonight, and hitless in his last 9 at-bats after getting a hit his first time up yesterday. Time taken, he backs away. Sports Center right after the game. Eckstein trying to keep the Cardinals alive. He brought in the winning run with a suicide squeeze bunt on Friday in game 1 of this series. And that's ball 1. Second time this month that he ended a game with a successful suicide squeeze bunt. In fact, he brought in Hector Luna with the winning run on Friday in an extra inning game. Fastball to strike. And that was just a crushing loss for the Cubs, because Carlos Zambrano pitched as well as a guy could pitch. He went 9 innings, 3 hits, no walks, and 12 strikeouts. There's Zambrano, and he didn't get the win there, and the Cubs didn't win the game. Chris Carpenter matched him inning for inning, and the Cardinals won it in overtime. That's a foul out of play. So again, the Cardinals are down to their final strike. Friday night, Jon Mabry came up as a pinch hitter in the 11th and hit a triple against Sergio Mitre. Ball took a funny hop off that wall. Luna went in as a pinch runner for Mabry, and then the suicide squeeze, and that's how it ended. Cardinals won it. Cubs held on to win yesterday 6-5. Now they lead 4-3 here tonight after trailing 3-0. There goes Luna. Here's the throwdown. One a hop, the tag. Two. Nathan Perez thought they had him, and so did Dempster. So a steal for Luna, and now a base hit. Good tie of the game.
Well, not a good throw, not a good jump, and not a good throw. You see the ball bounces, and Perez takes it and slaps his tag, but watch, he hits him on the knee, and his right foot is already in there. Right there. Well, as the tie goes to the runner, at least that's what the umpire is going to say. But I can see where Nathan Perez thought he had him. Yeah.
2-2 the count. That's a base hit. Here comes Luna. Here comes Burnett. Stroll. Please. It's all tied up. Eckstein goes to second.
Blanco is arguing that Luna never touched the plate. He says he had it blocked, but Jerry Crawford says he did tag home plate. Well, that's what a walk will do for you. Fastball away, and you're playing right into Eckstein's hands when you throw a pitch away. But here comes Luna around. See, he's got the plate blocked, but he says he slid past him and reached behind him and touched the bag. That's what Crawford is saying, that he's going to reach back here and touch the bag. Right there, you see his hand right on the bag, right behind Diaz.
A great shot.
Blanco, I'm sorry, great shot there, and a great play. Great play by Luna. He slides to the outside and reaches back with his left hand right there on top of the plate. Luna had the plate blocked in front, but he went around him and got it.
So Hector Luna stole the bag and then stole a run up the middle. Here's Todd Walker, going to have to hurry, not in time. And Albert Pujols is coming up to try and win the game.
Well, the problems, again, they were 2 outs. You walk a pinch hitter and a stolen base, and this is what gets you in trouble.
I mean, if you're a Cubs fan, you say, wow, the guy should have been called out at second. But really, it's all about that walk.
Yeah, you don't walk anyone with a 1-run lead and 2 outs in the 9th inning.
I mean, and he threw him a slider on 3-2.
Well, it was ahead, 1 ball, 2 strikes in the count, and he never was able to finish the hitter off.
Pujols has had 4 hits in 12 at-bats lifetime against Dempster. Dempster was 1 strike away from wrapping it up, but Seabold coaxed a walk from him. Luna then stole second, and then with 2 strikes on Eckstein, he punched a single into right field, and Luna scored a run with a sleight of hand. It was like a magic trick by Hector Luna.
And that's one of the things we talked about, the difference in the Cardinals and the Cubs. Cubs score their runs with home runs a lot of times. The Cardinals are able to score runs a lot of different ways and hit the ball out of the ballpark. We saw him steal a base, you know, with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th, 1 run down, and you steal a base to get in the scoring position. That's what this game's all about, and that's what has kept this game alive for the Cardinals.
The high hard one, and Albert did not get it. 1 ball, 1 strike. And that's where the Cubs feel the game would have been over.
You can't tell if that right heel had hit the bag when he tagged him on the knee.
That's another fastball into the upper deck. And I like that, Joey. He blew a high fastball by him, so why not come back again with it? And he did. And Albert was still late on it.
Well, I can see that Albert is not swinging the bat like Albert. We know that. He's 0 for 9. And one of the reasons is, again, that front shoulders bother him, and he's trying to use his body to speed up his bat. And it's usually just the opposite.
Everybody's standing, and the Cardinal crowd is chanting MVP now. He went up still higher. This time Albert took it. Albert Pujols hitting .364 for the year with runners in scoring position. David Eckstein at third. Albert Pujols trying to get him home. That's hit foul.
A hanging breaking ball inside allowed him to pull it.
Albert came up in the ninth inning yesterday with 2 men on and hit a shot, but right to the shortstop for a game-ending double play.
And this is kind of a backup slider, and he's still able to hit it. A lot of times a backup slider, you'll pop it up because it doesn't break.
The possible winning run is at third base in the person of David Eckstein. Outside. So now it's a full count. All the while, even though Derek Lee has not been holding him, Abraham Nunez has held his ground at first base so as not to just invite them to walk Albert Pujols. There's Jim Edmonds on deck. The left-handed hitter and another power hitter. A big run producer. Eckstein, he's the man with whom they're concerned. The winning run. There goes the runner from first. Pujols. Todd Walker. And we're going to play extra innings. Todd Walker and then Derek Lee coming up for the Cubs. It is 4-4 in St. Louis. Stay with us.
When life goes into extra innings, who do you want batting for you? How about someone with 85 years experience, 50 million customers, and the strength to help keep your family's financial future
safe?
At home and on the road, the AIG companies help people cover their financial bases. Insurance, loans, retirement. AIG.
Always smooth, right from the start. Always refreshing, time after time. The days are heating up. And the Bud Light is just right. Bud Light. Great taste for your great times.
Now the 10th inning, Sunday Night Baseball from St. Louis. The Cardinals 4, the Cubs 4. The Cardinals had a 3-0 lead at one time, couldn't hold it. Cubs took a lead 4-3 in the 8th, couldn't hold it. And so now into extra innings we go for the second time in 3 days here between these two ball clubs. And Al Reyes, a well-traveled veteran right-hander who's so far having the best year of his career. He comes on a relief of Isringhausen. He is the 6th pitcher used by the Cardinals, and he'll have to face some big hitters here. Todd Walker, Derek Lee, and Jeremy Burnitz. And if somebody gets on, Aramis Ramirez would be due up 4th. So the Cubs' best hitters are coming up right now.
Yeah, but John, there's nothing worse than to come back and, you know, from a game when you were down 3-0 after the first inning, come back, take a lead, and then, you know, to blow the save in the 9th inning. And I think the one thing to remember about blown saves, if you look, usually the other team gets some help, whether it's an error by one of your teammates or you walk someone. They get help, you know, when you're trying to save a ball game in the 9th inning most of the time, and you blow one. You have to help them in some way. Very few times a guy's going to come out and just hammer you around to get back in the ball game.
Well, it was the 2-out walk. He was ahead of Seabold. Then ran the count to 3-2. And on a 3-2 count, he threw him a slider and walked him. And that led to the tying run. Todd Walker takes a strike from Reyes. Reyes with a 2.09 ERA. In 38 2/3 innings this year, he has allowed only 22 hits and only 12 walks. He's been one of the stingiest relievers in anybody's bullpen. In the Cubs bullpen, Glendon Rush has started to warm up now. So the Cubs unable to hold that lead. Ryan Dempster, after converting 14 consecutive save chances, blew one tonight. And the pop foul out of play. You know, I always remember when John Smoltz was a closer, and he explained this theory, because one night with a 1-run lead, Jeff Kent was at the plate with Barry Bonds on deck, and Kent almost hit one out of the ballpark. In fact, it was just the opposite. Bonds almost hit one out of the ballpark with Kent on deck. And he explained that because everybody else would have walked Bonds in that spot. And he said, well, I look at it as my job is to keep us from losing the game.
Correct.
Just the worst that Bonds could have done was tied the game. But if I ended up walking him, now Kent could make this a loss.
Yeah. I think the problem that most relievers do not think about sometimes, if they have a 2-run lead, 3-run lead, that, you know, it takes 3 solo homers to beat you and only 1 3-run homer to beat you. So a lot of times they don't think in those terms, but obviously John Smoltz does, or did when he was a closer.
That one is down the right field line. That's a base hit. Hustling over to cut it off is Mabry. Walker digging for second. He's going to make it easily. A double in front of Derek Lee. So here come the Cubs. Walker's first hit of the night after going 0 for 4.
But he is a good hitter. I mean, you have to like Todd Walker anytime he's in the batter's box. Little slide piece, and he doesn't kill it, but he drifts it down in the corner. And he hustles into second base. Neighbors throws a little late. Well, here's the tough thing. I mean, I think if you're Derek Lee, your job is to go ahead and drive him in. A lot of times you're in this situation, people think about going the other way to move the runner over. But I think if you're, well, I think they're doing the Cubs a favor here by walking him. I really do.
You're going to walk him intentionally. They're going to give him the Bonds treatment. It's just as you predicted, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know they're going to do that. I mean, you have to. But I think in this situation, and the reason I say that, because now you're inviting somebody to bunt, a left-hander up there to stay out of the double play, and that'll move the runner to third with less than 2.
Well, I'm thinking that La Russa figures, when's the last time Jeremy Burnitz was asked to lay down a sacrifice
bunt? Yeah, but he can pull the ball and stay out of the double play as well. That'll still move the runner over, or hit a fly ball to right field. That'll move the runner over. I mean, obviously Derek Lee is a great hitter, but he's not going to be shooting trying to move the runner along in this situation. He's going to be trying to drive him home.
Jeremy Burnitz has had 1 sacrifice bunt since 1998.
Oh, no,
that was 3 years ago.
Really mean, I said you're inviting it, but I don't expect him to bunt, but I expect him to try to pull the ball. If he pulls it and stays out of the double play, you're going to accomplish the same thing.
So Derek Lee has walked 4 times tonight, and he is the only Cub who has drawn a walk. They've walked him 4 times. So now Burnitz. Now you're the manager. Are you asking him to bunt?
No, I wouldn't ask him to bunt, but Dusty did try to tie the game earlier, but I wouldn't ask him to bunt here.
Aramis Ramirez on deck.
But Dusty is.
That's a nice bunt.
Yeah.
Albert Pujols with the put out. Runners at second and third, 1 out. Ramirez coming up. Let's check into the studio. Scott Reese with the SportsCenter 30 at 30 update.
Okay, John, we're going extras. Lance Armstrong's 7th straight Tour de France title Final margin of victory was more than 4.5 minutes. Also today, Larry Brown met with Knicks owner James Dolan. No formal offer has been made, but all signs suggest the job is Brown's if he wants it. These stories and more coming up on SportsCenter after the game. For now, back to Bush.
All right, now they're walking Aramis Ramirez intentionally.
And this is why I wouldn't have bunted, personally, I wouldn't have bunted Burnett, because if you bunt him, you know they're going to walk Ramirez. I mean, I give Burnett a chance to drive him in, and if not, you know, at least if he stays out of the double play, he'll accomplish the same thing. A long fly ball to right or anything but a double play, and he accomplishes the same thing. But then you lose your one of your best hitters right here.
It was Ramirez who hit a 2-run homer in the 8th inning to put the Cubs ahead. Michael Barrett, the pitcher, is due up next. After the double switch, the pitcher went into the 6th spot in the order. And so the bunt succeeded, but it also took the bat out of the hands of Aramis Ramirez. The bases are loaded, and Michael Barrett is going to come up. They don't have any left-handed hitters still available. Jody Garrett, a lefty, went into the game as a part of a double switch, and Jose Macias, the switch hitter, was used in the 7th inning. So Tony La Russa was able to avoid, actually didn't have to face Burnett or Ramirez. When you look back at it, the 4th and 5th place hitters in the Cubs lineup, but Michael Barrett has been one of the Cubs' best this year with runners in scoring position. He's hitting .368 in these kind of at-bats where a base hit could knock in a run.
But he's also a right-handed hitter, which also allows, you know, sets up perfectly for the double play, you know, if you get the ground ball. I mean, look, there are always different ways to go about trying to manufacture a run or score a run. See, I'm not one to believe you bunt all the time. I'm not one to believe you steal a base all the time. I think there are certain times when you need to, as we saw Luna still want to extend this game. But I think that when you have a left-handed hitter up there like Burnett, you know, and if he pulls the ball to right field, he's going to accomplish the same thing by getting a runner to third with less than 2 outs, and you don't lose Ramirez.
They're pulled in at the corners. Nunez at third, Pujols at first. They're halfway up the middle at short and second. Bases loaded, 1 out. Ooh, slider in there for a strike.
It's interesting the way the Cardinals are playing this. It looks like they're playing halfway. So if it's a chopper, they can come to the plate if it's a chopper. If it's a one-hopper, they can go this way for the double play. So it looks to be what they're trying to do. See, they're not playing it complete double play situation. They're playing where they can try to do 2 things at once.
1 strike to count. Here's that bluff toward third.
What that is. I mean, the runner at first can't go anyplace.
Nobody was covering at first either.
Right. Well, you got a runner at second. You got a runner at second anyway. Unless they were trying to check to see if there was a squeeze on. I mean, I guess that could have been what they were doing.
And I mean, that would be a question, although it's different to think of a squeeze when you're the visiting team, knowing the Cardinals still have a hold at bat coming.
Well, he's played for 1 run earlier in the game, you know, so I agree with you. But I think at this point, Dusty's trying to get another run. He doesn't want to go to the bottom of the inning in a tie ball game, and I can understand that after you've blown the lead in the top of the inning. Ninth.
He blew a fastball right by him. So Barrett, after taking a slider, just blown away by an 89-mile-an-hour fastball. Barrett with 9 homers, 42 batted in for the year. And his job is to get that runner home from third somehow. 4-4, 10th inning. Bases loaded, 1 out. And he went after him with a fastball, popped up foul and out of play off to the right.
Well, if you're Barrett, I mean, you just have to try to make sure you put the ball in play, even if you hit the ground ball. Then you just hope that Ramirez can break up the double play at second base if you hit the ground ball. And he's going to be able to get a big lead at first because, you know, obviously Pujols is coming home with the ball.
Walker at third, Derek Lee at second, Aramis Ramirez at first. Now Barrett asks for time and backs away. There's Walker. He led off the inning with a double. Derek Lee, who walked at second base. Aramis Ramirez, who walked at first. Both of those walks were intentionally given. 0-2 the count. No balls, 2 strikes to Barrett. Struck him out. And he got him chasing one, a fastball up and away and out of the strike zone.
You know, I come from the Sparky Anderson school, John, that says if my big guys don't hit, I'm not going to win anyway. So you want to give your big guys a chance to hit. I guess is my point. Burnett and Ramirez are your 4th and 5th place hitters in a tie ball game.
Yeah,
that's what you ask them to hit in those positions for.
Well, I mean, really, when he bunted Burnett, it was as if he was saying he wanted Barrett facing Al Reyes.
You're losing Burnett and you lost Walker.
That one is hit down the right field line. Deep. That ball is a grand slam. Nathy Perez has hit a grand slam. Nathy Perez with his 8th home run of the year. And it is 8-4 Cubs.
I told you that guy was a great part of this ball club, and he did so well early. You said, what has he done for you lately? Well, he's hit a grand slam home run.
I love this guy.
Well, he also saves Dusty Baker, I think.
Dusty loves him 10 times.
Yeah, he loves him. You got to love him if you're Dusty.
So it wasn't Barrett. Dusty was trying to get Nathy up
that's
there.
what he wanted. He just wanted to make sure Nathy got a swing. Fastball right in the middle of the plate, and he rips a line drive right down the line.
Now, how about this one, Joe? Nathy Perez has just hit the only home run he's ever hit at Busch Stadium.
I mean, it's right down the line.
0-2 the count to Blanco, and a foul out of play.
Well, I guess you're right. I mean, Dusty wanted Nathy up there, so that's he got him up there. He wanted Nathy. He knew if I get him up there at the bases loaded, he'll come through for me.
Well, I'm going with that story now if I'm Dusty.
Yeah, well, I am too. But I mean, I was serious. Dusty told me all year long that this guy's performed better than they could have hoped. You know, he's done a lot of things, but like you said, it was early in the year he was really playing well, you know, hitting well. But I mean, without that, you know, the Cubs would have been deeper in a deeper hole than they are already in.
I mean, Nathy is not a home run hitter per se. Although last year, he finished up the year with the Cubs last year, one of his most dramatic moments was a home run he hit against the Cubs in May at Wrigley Field in the top of the 10th inning to help the Giants beat the Cubs. And Nathy later on finished up the year with the Cubs, and he was a big hitter for them down the stretch last year.
But remember this, John, that's the one thing. Reyes doesn't think that Nathy Perez is a home run hitter. He wants to get ahead of him with that first pitch fastball with the bases loaded and not risk a walk, and Nathy had other ideas.
Down the left field line. And look at this. I mean, it's Nathy Perez and Henry Blanco are beating up the Cardinals tonight. And Blanco is out at second base. But that is Blanco's 4th hit of the game, including a homer and 2 RBIs. But he's been overshadowed by Nathy Perez 1 hit, which was, as Dave Niehaus says, a grand salami. Grand salami time in St. Louis. Edmonds coming up for the Cardinals, 8-4 Chicago.
Millions of American families rely on Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury cars, trucks, and sport utilities. Right now, Ford Motor Company, America's car company, invites you to join the family and pay the same low prices our employees and their families pay. Introducing the Ford Family Plan. Until August 1st, you'll get our discounts on every Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury vehicle at participating dealerships. No hassles, no gimmicks. From the Ford family to yours, welcome.
A cool head.
Is there paper?
And a new copier. $2,500.
Dinosaur. Dedication.
And a coffee maker. $69.
A sense of humor.
And a mop. $17. Having what it takes to run a business? Priceless. To see what the MasterCard business card can do for your business, visit our website.
Turn off the Ambilight function on your Philips flat TV, and it's like going back in time. The only flat TV with Ambilight from Philips. You'll never go back to ordinary TV.
Just as we did not predict, Neifi Perez with a grand slam to break a 4-4 tie in the 10th inning. So Neifi is the big slugger tonight in the game where Derek Lee and Albert Pujols are both playing, and it's Neifi Perez who has the big home run, although Aramis Ramirez, one of the premier sluggers in the National League, had a dramatic home run for the Cubs in the 8th inning. Sports Center right after the game. Here's Glendon Rush now to try and wrap this one up.
Well, John, I guess the Cubs are still scoring their runs with home runs, though.
7 of their 8 runs tonight on home runs.
And we were talking about 46% was scored before tonight.
So that's what, 85%
Yep.
tonight. Ball 1 to Jim Edmonds, who has homered and gone 1 for 4. He homered in the first inning. Jody Garrett, and he runs out of room. 1 ball, 1 strike to Jim Edmonds. Jon Mabry on deck. The Cubs with an 8-4 lead. The Cardinals are shorthanded. Larry Walker is hurting, not available apparently. We know that because he would have come up in the 9th inning if he'd been available. And the other part of it is only the backup catcher Mike Mahoney is still available on Tony La Russa's bench among the non-pitchers. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Strike 2. So Dusty was able to bring in the left-hander here, knowing that these 2 lefties, Edmonds and Mabry, would both have to hit, just as he did in the 8th inning when he brought Will Ullman into the game to face the same 2 balls, 2 strikes. Rush is the 6th pitcher of the game used by manager Dusty Baker. 2 balls, 2 strikes. High in the air to left. Jody Garrett. And there's 1 away. Eight to 4. The Cubs lead the Cardinals. Crazy game.
It is a crazy game. It has been.
I mean, the Cardinals jumped out in the first inning against maybe the Cubs' best pitcher, Mark Pryor, and they lit him up. 3 homers, a double. He's one of the worst poundings he's ever taken in an inning as Mabry fouls 1 away. Then he never gave up another hit except for an infield single in the 2nd inning that should have been an out that he kind of messed up himself. That's up the middle. That's a base hit. So Mabry gets his first hit since his first inning home run.
And somewhere Yogi Berra is smiling.
Oh, what's Yogi's line again?
It's never over till it's over. We saw that in the 9th inning, and you may see it again here. It's never over.
Well, what about when it's over?
Well, when it's over, we'll let the fat lady sing.
That's when it's over.
Yeah, that's when it's over. She may be humming, but she's not singing yet.
I heard her tuning up there in the 9th inning.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Here's Grudzielanek. Grudzielanek has hit a double. He had a double in the first inning and is hitless since then. Cardinals went from the first inning to the 9th inning with only 1 hit. That was an infield hit in the 2nd inning. And then in the 9th inning with 2 down and nobody on, they got a walk and then hit 2 singles. Tied the ball game and were poised to win it. But Albert Pujols grounded out to end the inning. And then in the 10th inning, the Cubs got a leadoff double from Todd Walker, his first hit of the game, first time he'd been on base. Derek Lee was walked intentionally, and that's when the managers started strategizing.
See, I would, as I told you at the time, I wouldn't have walked Derek Lee. I know he's a great hitter and so forth, but he's not going to be moving that runner along. He's going to be trying to drive him in. So your chances are, if I can get him out, the runner's still going to be at second with one out. Yeah. Now, when you walk him, you're fixing it where if what's name it's a fly ball to right field or a ground ball on that side, you're going to move him to third.
So Grudzielanek chased one. 2 down. Here is Taguchi.
But I think what happened is when Dusty saw him take Derek Lee away, he was going to bunt him over, you know, because, you know, he and Tony are always mixing and matching. You know, they always play this chess game, you know, and I think when Tony walked Derek Lee, Dusty said, well, I'm going to bunt him over. But I truthfully, I didn't like either play.
So here is Taguchi. He's walked twice and flied out twice. Strike one. So the Cubs are once again 1 out away from taking this series in St. Louis. And that's always big in this Cubs-Cardinals rivalry, especially for the Cubs to come in here. They've been taking it on the chin for several years in this ballpark. They've lost 33 of their last 44 games here. And this could do it. Aramis Ramirez. And a wide throw, but he kept his foot in the bag, and the ball game is over. And Dave McKay goes over and gets into the face of C.B. Buckner. And so even on what looked to be a fairly routine play, there's something extraordinary happens. But this time, it works in favor of the Cubs. Tony La Russa is going to go out and pick it up with Buckner. But the Chicago Cubs, once and for all, win the game in 10 innings and take the series 2 out of 3.
Well, we'll take another look. It was a routine play. Ramirez takes his time, then he flips it and throws it to the outfield side. And you see Derek Lee, I do think he was on the bag. His right foot was on the bag when he made the dive. Yeah, I think his right foot was on the bag, John, when he extended out. It didn't look pretty, but I think he kept his foot on the back. But he is one of the best first basemen in the game, if not the best.
Yeah, I like to call that the Andres Galarraga move.
Yeah, that's exactly who he was good at that as well.
He looked like the big cat out there. So the Cubs take the Cardinals 8-4. And we thank you for tuning in tonight. SportsCenter is coming up next. We'll see you next Sunday night in Baltimore when we'll see Chicago's other team, the red-hot White Sox, at Camden Yards. For Joe Morgan, Gary Miller, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Jon Miller. Thanks for tuning in. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.